Make it good.
Ring, 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 hero, simps,
Nice.
and virgins.
No.
And welcome back to Krown's magical, sexy,
What?
and seductive
No. What the fuck?
magic internet money case.
Get the fuck out of here. Welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. We got plenty to talk about today. Is Bitcoin in the short-term time frames playing a little bit of the upside move, although the greater picture is still very much of the same accord as we've been looking at for the past few days here, or really the past couple days actually. Anyways, I need to turn the alerts off right now because goddamn, it's way too early for that, but we'll get into that soon enough. And first and foremost, as always, going to get through the early morning rituals right here, as I like to call them. Got to get some water on my desk as well, and it looks like on the Krown Chain application we got plenty to see over here. But before that, I do want to say a welcome to all the people in here right now. Already 1,000 people in the house, 290 likes, which is insane. Again, this is just fucking wild, man. It keeps on going up. We're trending up, baby. We are trending motherfucking to the upside, which is beautiful, which is great. And I just need to make sure that all my screens over here are in the proper place because I've been doing some early morning stuff, taking care of business, and now it's time for a little bit of streaming action over here. Is my hair is a fucking mop. It's a mess. Anyways, with that said, I do want to welcome everyone here. I see Gemini Athlete. I see Mary Simmons. I see Henry Kruftofer. Hopefully I'm saying that properly. What's up, Rocky G, our lovely moderator. Gohan's mom. There she is. Jack Frost, Dan Alderlein. Who else? We got Philson, our other lovely mod. And African Crypto Warlord. The tried and true, man. Good to see you, my friend. Good to fucking see you. I think even Alex Switch is here, which is good. As always, man. Hopefully I can help with that API data feed to your options exchange, by the way. There's great, dude. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very, very much. Anyways, I think it's time to get on with it right now. I do want to remind you that if you are subscribed or if you joined the channel on YouTube, like that little join button under the, oh my god, there's 500 likes already. What the fuck? The likes just doubled in a second. What the actual hell? Wait, what the fuck? Likes are going parabolic. This is insane. What the fuck is going on right here? I want to, it's your intro, isn't it? Anyways, good day to you as well, Mr. African Crypto Warlord. Yeah, man, so, yes, I want to remind the people who are subscribed to this channel who actually joined through YouTube, not on the Krown Chain application, completely different thing over there, but just joined through the YouTube. You do have a TA 101 playlist available to you. I've been getting a few questions about that, and I just want to make sure that the people who are actually subscribed to the channel, they know about that so that you can have maybe a little bit more value in your life, perhaps. Anyways, what do we see on the Krown Chain application, which, by the way, is 100% free and found in the link description below? We do see that the Fear and Greed Index is at the officially lowest level that we have seen in about 3 months now at a 16 read. The last time we saw reads like this were on the last major low at 40,000 bucks, and of course the time before that was over the summer in the $30,000 territory. So that is of relevance right here. Again, still compounding with the overall understanding that we're probably looking at a major low in the making here. The question is when, to reference the video's title here, and I think that's still a little bit of patience to go. I think we're getting a little bit excited about $2,000 move to the upside. That is still within the very much medium and higher term time frame ranges. So with that in mind, let's go see if there's any big winners in the last 24 hours, and there certainly was. Actually, I saw MATIC didn't just play out our downside move yesterday to about 175. It popped back up to the top side of the range and then resolved the higher term time frame range. Fucking amazing price action right there. Just beautiful. And this is actually very compelling to be looking at because when you see something like that, some strength across the broad market in some of the stronger altcoins that are actually not just like, you know, acting well, but in this case, basically testing per all-time highs, that is a good sign. That is a good sign for the overall market. We see Phantom, Crypto.com, Avalanche, Cadena, Anchor, Oasis Network, Bitcoin SV, and Loopring and BitTorrent. What the fuck? BitTorrent's on there? Oh, dear Lord. By the way, I should also let you know, we had another Crypto Simps episode from last night. Fun times with the man, Mr. Jason Pizzino. Definitely go check him out. He's very, very level-headed and one of the, in my opinion, one of the good guys. And he's also just a good friend as well. Anyways, in the market data tab we go. A couple interesting things over here as we do see that the global funding rate is still technically negative. Now, yesterday we saw it actually massively negative. In fact, that was a almost negative 0.02% read, which does mean that you're getting paid a decent, I wouldn't say a decent amount, but you're getting paid to hold your longs in a macro uptrend still, which is typically a good do in my experience. And with that in mind, we do see that the global leverage ratio take a nice dump-ola from our highs, our all-time highs, just about a week ago right there. And of course, most importantly, we do see that, well, it's not necessarily most importantly, they all kind of have collusion with each other, but the global open interest taking major shaves off right there. I'm just going to remove my face for a second here so that you can see the full chart. And we are back down around similar levels that you have seen, that you haven't seen since early October, late September, essentially. And if we actually could draw a trend line on this, you actually would see that there is a trend line going through all of the major lows now, from May lows to September lows at 30,000 bucks. Then of course right here at 40,000 bucks, and then once again at well, perhaps where we're at right now. So I do think that Bitcoin is closer to a major low than not. The question is when, and as we spoke about yesterday, I do think that Bitcoin still very likely does test somewhere around, you know, not necessarily exactly Saturday's lows, but somewhere around there would be fair game, because realistically the people who longed that have not been tested, and also CME has not seen that same move as well. And let me just make sure. Elsa, could I ask you for some water, please? It'd be massively helpful, actually. Elsa's very overloaded right now. Anyways, also of significant interest right here, actually two more big things right here on the Krown Chain application. We do see that the global exchange's Bitcoin reserves continues to nosedive. So coins are being taken off exchanges. And this is a good sign for the macro yet again, in the sense that people are using this to essentially hodl. And that is, well, what you do expect in your long-term bullish markets, of course. Again, long-term doesn't mean exactly this day at this moment, but long-term, of course. Anyways, the global exchange's net flows, we see yet again another big outflow, almost 19,000 Bitcoin. And yesterday, if I can remind you, is just under 18,000 Bitcoin. This is juxtaposed exactly against what we saw over the weekend prior to the dump, where we saw the first big inflows, the first fucking big inflows for the first time since, I mean, I guess for the first time realistically since like August. Yeah, August. So basically the summer, you know, of basically that same variety, about 18,000 Bitcoins coming into the exchanges, and now they're being taken off yet again. So again, consistently negative, which is a good thing. And then if we go into the third data tab over here, we will see that the fear and greed index is actually charted out. And you can see that we actually are officially lower than what we saw on the September lows at 40,000 bucks, and now kind of comparable to what you did see over the summer. So I stick with what I've been saying here, in the sense that, you know, I do look at Bitcoin as still macro good, as long as you are above about 40,000 bucks and maintaining that long-term weekly uptrend. That's what I care about most for macro direction. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's destined to just green dildo its way exactly from here. And as you can see, we're just about to test the weekly 21 exponential average on the weekly, and that is 52,350 or so. So anywhere around there, I would have a bit of caution. Now, technically speaking, our last breakdown major area was about 53,500 or so, right here. Just one nice measly trend line, which is actually synonymous and confluent with the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement right there, as you can see, if I actually make it visible for you. And that would be a good area, at least in my opinion, to kind of judge whether the correction is over sooner rather than later. So while I do think that Bitcoin, you know, can play to the upside very easily from here if it wants, I don't really have a strong, it's kind of like yesterday, I don't really have a strong opinion as to what Bitcoin's going to do in the very short-term timeframes. But anything below 53,500 especially is not just another the lower high, but it is still below the breakdown level, the technical breakdown level that we saw over the weekend. And I still do think that Bitcoin probably does come back down and fill out, you know, the mid 40s, perhaps something like this, if you wanted to make a little bit of a chart, chart art on top of it. Oh baby, I got some water. This is great. I'm really excited about this. Thank you very much, Sir Elskleen. Oh, it's oh so good right there, man. It's oh so good. Good morning to you as well, Mr. Alex Vetter. I see you over there, brother. I see you over there. I got the chats right in front of my faces. And Glenn Cooper, what's up, man? And Philosophian, how you doing, brother? Smooth, streaming smoothie here. Beautiful. Okay, yes, I'm getting no, I'm getting no issues on my on my streaming service over here, so should be all good. Anyways, you know, until we essentially resolve above here or come back down and test around here, I'm not really going to be calling anything too majorly different, because we don't really have too much structure going on in the low-term timeframes just yet. Short-term timeframes, like an hourly, is there anything to be going off of right now? I mean, well, we did have a little bit of a short-term reversal, yes, but is that going to be even relevant towards a full hour? Nah, not really. So still a lot of work to do for the Bitcoin bulls, but until then, you know, sideways action between these regions is, in my opinion, generally good. Now, again, I want to juxtapose this against what CME chart looks like, which is not of the same cut right here, as you can see. So if CME did want to play that same move, we would expect another move down somewhere around about 45,000 bucks or so, and very likely another bounce around there as well. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards still, unless if Bitcoin does close above 53,500. At that point, on a daily, no lower term time frame in this action, maybe even higher than that, if you want to be super conservative in this case. Until then, you know, I'm basically just looking at a sideways market, which is going to be good for the BULOS, more importantly, as long as Bitcoin is again above 40,000 bucks. Now, going back on over here, I want to reference this chart. I don't know if we spoke about this yesterday, but basically I did a short statistical analysis of the last few consolidations for Bitcoin, both on the macro and I guess not necessarily micro scale, but on a shorter scale than that right here, which maybe we go to it daily just to make it a little bit more visually pleasing. And we did see that, you know, this last consolidation not the last consolidation, but the consolidation on the last major distributive phase that we saw over the first portion of the year at about March, April, May on these highs right here. It took about 60 days, right? And it is kind of common knowledge from like a Wyckoff perspective. I do believe, I believe that he's the one who's actually spoken about this. If not, then I do apologize. But basically, your distributive phases should be resolved by a similar in nature amount of consolidation on your accumulation phases for reversal. And that's what we see basically over here, about 63 days from low given to reversal over here in late July. And then, of course, we've got the same thing over here in this very short-term, I would say short-term bull trap in this case. 14 days on the highs right here, resolved by about 10 days of consolidation on the other side. Kind of actually more like 11 days if I were to be super exact, but 10 days, 11 days, what's the difference right there? And then more recently, we saw this distributive phase on our current all-time highs, actually in the upper $6,000 territory of about 28 days before that first breakdown. And now, well, if we are going to be looking at lows for here, it would follow maybe somewhere around that, let's say 25 to 30-ish days or so. Probably a little bit more on the lower end if I had to guess, just because if Bitcoin is going to put in a major low here and it is going to be long-term bullish, probably want to not give people too long in this case, but what does it essentially look like? Perhaps something like this. So I do still think that waiting is the name of the game. And of course, there is nothing guaranteed in the game of trading. And if Bitcoin, again, does break below basically your last weekly high or low, which is just above 40,000 bucks essentially, I will turn, well, at least bearish down to the mid to low $30,000 territory before the next major bounce. I don't think that that's what's happening right here. I do still think that Bitcoin has more indications of long-term consolidation in a healthy way, actually. One of them being this volume signature right here, as you can see. I guess I already have it in there, but curtailing off left to right does imply that we are within one major consolidation. And for one major consolidation, well, what does essentially work right here? Well, from a weekly moving average perspective, if you're familiar with the Krown cross in the program, you probably already know that moves down to the 55 are those corrective higher lows that you do expect, and you would expect hidden bullish divergence on the other side as well, which we will have if Bitcoin does just confirm a local low here, which is probably not going to happen this week, to be fair. It's probably at earliest going to happen next week after a full week of trading in this case. But sir, you okay over there? You having a good time or what?
Yeah,
I see Nikki Page as well. What's up, Nikki Page? What?
Just started following me.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I forgot to mention, if you're on Instagram, I sincerely apologize because there's just a shit ton of scammers with similar names to myself trying to get people to invest in their great fund. I don't have like a secret fund or anything like that. I have no interest in trading anyone else's accounts other than my own. It's probably a scammer. I can't say from experience, but very, very likely a scammer. So not only do we have the volume signature right here, not only do we have the technical information on also moving averages are still in a more, consolidation-ish posturing, but we also do see over the macro scale in the monthly that volatility has also been contracting basically ever since Bitcoin hit its highs at the $60,000 territory earlier this year. So with that in mind, a contraction phase on BBWP does imply that contraction is consolidation, and consolidation on the macro, still looks okay as far as I'm concerned right there. Michelle pointed out yesterday that we would have bearish divergence on monthly RSI. That is very, very true. We would have bearish divergence on the monthly RSI, but we still got another 24 days left in the trading month to go. I would not feel comfortable front running this, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, I also did want to point out that almost all low volatility periods in Bitcoin's history, especially anywhere below 25 percentile, have actually been resolved with, major macro lows in this case. For example, the last time that we even got lower than we're at right now, although this is still, curtailing right there, that was in the summer. And, well, what was happening during the summer? We were putting in, not this summer, last summer. I know what you did last summer. June, July, essentially right here. That was when Bitcoin was essentially putting in its reversal from the last flu dump. Very, very interesting. The time before that was coming off of the last macro low at 3,100 in December 2018 to January 2019 right here, before going from 3,000 to 14,000. And the time before that was coming off the macro lows from the 2014-2015 cycle, where Bitcoin essentially went from $200 base to $20,000 high. Not bad, you might say. So I do think that is of relevance here. Can still take a long time, so I do want to kind of have a more prolonged view of this as I search around for all my fun little activities over here. Where's my phone? There's my phone, and it has a charge still, so that's quite good. 2,000 people watching right now as well, and we got 906 likes. Unbelievable. I think this is a new record for like the fastest to 1,000 likes ever. It's like this, just fucking insane, man. Again, major thank you for all the support on these videos. Just blown away. What the fuck? What do I make of this? I don't know. But yeah, 5-day did close yesterday night, and not great. So again, 5-day range for what it's worth is basically between about $54,000. Basically the breakdown at $53,500 to $54,000. Perhaps it's even more wise to be using $54,000 as a more conservative area for declaring the consolidation and correction over before getting bullish again. And of course a base at around about $47,000. So perhaps I am being a little bit too aggressive, looking for maybe like $45,000 or so, as I postulated earlier. Maybe just $47,000 to the downside is good enough. But overall, we'd have the same setup here as we do on the weekly, but a 5-day obviously is going to be having, more frequent closures, not by much, but by enough to make a difference. And guess what? We already would have potential hidden bullish divergence if it does put in a local low right here. Again, same thing as the weekly. It would very unlikely be happening on this next 5-day stint right here. At probably minimum, it happens within the next 10 days upon the not next closure, but the closure after that, as you want to see, something resembling a stop and reverse point. Right now, we just have a continuation, unfortunately. So let's go over here, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to do my best job on the short-term timeframes, with the overall understanding that I really don't feel too compelled by the short-term timeframes right here. I think that there's going to be a lot of whippy price action, and it's very interesting to see some of the comments sometimes just based off like a couple $1,000s of price action when realistically no major range has been broken, and we're looking at this really realistically for like the next month of price action right here. Anyways, if we go over to the very short-term timeframes, like the 4-hour, oh Josh, motherfucker Josh, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. I'll get to that soon enough. But I want to get through this first. Anyways, looking at the 4-hour right here, we do see that 4-hour stokes are plopping back up again. Now, this is coming alongside a very high volatility on the short term, on the 4-hour time frame. So, how much do I put weight into that? It's probably more of a corrective bounce than not, as you want to see a bit of mean reversion while this does contract, which once you get up to 100 percentile, it's very likely to contract. But it will stay with upside posturing as long as above 47,500 or so for the 4-hour. Bi-hourly is showing up as well, as long as above 48,200, and hourly is plopping down as long as below 51,200 or so. So again, short-term timeframes ebb and flow right here. Probably spend some time a little bit above $50,000, and then the second that you do see it start to come back down, those pain points is where I'd be looking for an actionable move back down somewhere around about $47,000 minimum, and maybe as much as like $45,000 or so. And that's where the real question is for me, where I'd be looking for, okay, are we seeing some major signs of bottoming? Are we starting to get some bullish divergences on your shorter term timeframes? That would be a good sign, but this is just going to take time naturally right here, and we're kind of within the first, we're probably within any number like 3 or 4 right now of this correction, if I had to guess. Anyways, maybe I'm being a little bit too optimistic right there. 12-hour, what do we see right here? 12-hour stokes down as long as below $54,000, so that does add good confluence for that being a good place to kind of at least for myself, flip around my biases, meaning that it's not necessarily flip around my biases. That would just be confirmation, validation that, hey, correction probably over, and we can start to, talk about sideways, basically sideways and up, back around prior highs. Well, that would be great. That'd be very welcome, obviously. Make things a lot easier, of course, too. Anyways, daily is actually going to be angled down if we do close below about 51,100 on CME, which we're currently about at right now. So again, not a death sentence right here. When you start to get in these critical zones, you are starting to get usually very, very close to the end of the move, but because a lot of the time you'll see, mean reversion on price is a lot more, it usually happens a lot faster on quick downside moves rather than quick, big upside moves, just to like a weird thing that I'm sure many people have noticed, including myself. But in this case right here, I do think that we're closer to it than not. The question is when, in my opinion. Anyways, going over to the 2-day, we actually will see this one flip up as well, freshly, by the way, above 51,440, and that is not closing tonight. That's closing tomorrow. Oh, and I'm giving it away right here. Caretaker's new indicator. Ha ha ha. Man, this one is going to be, this is going to be fucking amazing. I'm really, really excited about this. But I have to keep it under wraps because Caretaker is, well, he's the man with it. He'll decide when it's ready for release. Anyways, 5-day and of course weekly, both still nose down right there, and this is still corrective. Here. So within the context of trend, I stick with what I've been saying there. I do still look for higher lows as long as Bitcoin's especially above that weekly 55. So let's see. Is that the same as spot right now? Yeah, basically, spot's actually coming in from a little bit of a higher angle. And what about the daily on spot as well? Daily turns down below about 50,100. So let's say that Bitcoin closed below about 50,000 bucks today. Yeah, at that point, I'd probably look for that next test down somewhere around 47,000 bucks minimum, maybe as much as 45,000 bucks, probably sometime before end of week, and then look for a bounce there if Bitcoin is going to have some good responses. Of course, at that point, you'd imagine that we very likely would be creating some bullish divergence on 4-hour RSI. As of right now, we actually don't have any, which is, again, another thing. When you're thinking in terms of statistics, Bitcoin typically doesn't put in major highs or major lows or even medium term highs or lows without at minimum having some drives of divergence on even a 4-hour. That time frame does seem to hold quite a fair bit of weight. But what I should say is that 4-hour Joule, while it's not supported by DMI, that's actually not bad right there. It's not a perfect signal by any stretch of the imagination, but could be good enough to get continuation up somewhere just shy of 53,000 bucks. Again, that doesn't really do anything for the bigger picture, but obviously, probably get a lot more people excited in the short term, and fair enough. I just want to make sure that I'm very, very clean and clear with the areas that I'm looking for to kind of change around the overall, identification of this current correction. So until Bitcoin's above 54,000 bucks, I do err on the cautious side, thinking that Bitcoin probably does play another downside move somewhere around, Saturday's lows, whether that be 47 or 45,000 bucks. That's fair game. But ultimately, I still respect it until proven otherwise, man. Anyways, I'm going to take a sip of this water, and then we'll get on into the comments right here. I see there it is. Nikki Page and Elsa going at it with their emoticons. James Bond is here as well. What the fuck? Holy shit, man. I'm your biggest fan. I'm going to take a sip of this. And there he is, Yasek. What's up, Mr. Yasek? Yeah, man. So today's going to be a very interesting day to especially watch the more interesting and strong charts, that being, I think, from yesterday's video, Ethereum, MATIC, maybe Solana as well. Let's go see. So I'm going to turn on the alerts right now, and let's see what else has lined up already. Oh, apparently Finnish people are very mad today because their prime minister Sanna Marin was seen partying at night during the flu. She was out till 4 a.m. clubbing. She's 36. What the fuck do you expect? Oh, and she was without a mask. She's in a club. Why would she be wearing a mask? What the fuck? Terrible. Hang her. She's terrible. No, just kidding, Sana. I seriously want to live here for forever, so please just let me be. All right, here we go. Chester Allen says, you called the Hex top Zimzer. Where is a reasonable price of May bottom? Any thoughts are appreciated. Yeah, man. Okay, so Hex over here. Let's pull it up. All right, always have to preface this by saying, hey, Hex crew, please don't hate me, okay? Please don't hate me. I'm just reading the charts. Look, I was bullish on this thing from 2 cents to 50 cents. I can't really be bullish on it for a long time anymore, man. Okay, so we did get the correction all the way down to like 20 cents. That was about a month ago. We got a bounce, a pretty damn big bounce all the way up 27 cents. Obviously, that's just another lower high. While I would be looking for a bounce at about 10 cents or so, which would imply a little bit further down. I mean, it's already at about 13 and a half cents or so. It depends on what you mean by bottom. If you're looking for a bounce, yeah, I think that you're closer to a bounce here than not, somewhere between about 10 and basically somewhere around about 10 and 11 cents or so for the next bouncy bounce. But am I calling a reversal there? No, this is what the chart truly looks like on a linear scale, and long term, very, very likely in my opinion, and I'm talking like months down the road now. So if you're talking about the macro, this is probably more relevant. I'd be looking somewhere around probably 7.5 to 6 cents for a potential major low, and if that does fail, then I'm looking all the way down to 2.5 cents actually. Here's the real chart right here on the monthly. This is a monthly parabolic blow off top. This thing's going to be done for a very, very long time. So even when it does bottom, it's probably going to go through, months, maybe even a year plus of consolidation before the next try to the upside, if it gets that. I know that there's some interesting questions about the fundamentals of this project, but fair enough. That's not for me to comment on. I'll let other people do that because I'm not educated in that fashion. But in this case right here, this is this is a top for a very long time. I don't think that this thing's doing anything interesting for a rather long time now, and there's absolutely no reason, in my opinion, to be bullish on this thing as long as you're below about 27.5 cents, which is more than it's almost more than a 2x from where you're at right now, which just makes it a very uninteresting chart in my opinion. But hey, that's just my opinion. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go, sir. Bimmer says Bitcoin goes to 50,000 and everyone is turning bullish on Twitter. Sir, when nuke? Exactly, man. Exactly. And I actually see it on the comments too. Now, to be fair, it's really not many people. I think that the community in this particular channel is in general like just of kind of a, if you're going to sit here and listen to me fucking spout off shit about Bitcoin for 30 minutes, you're probably a TA nerd and probably capable of handling nuances and whatnot. Still though, I do see some comments here and there where people would be like, "You're wrong. Bitcoin's going back up to 100,000." It's like, okay, again, I'm long-term bullish, but let's talk about areas that actually are meaningful. And I totally agree with you, man. Sir, when nuke, it looks like we do carry out this correction a little bit more to the upside first before potential nuke time, but. Again, as long as Bitcoin's below 54,000 bucks, especially, I just don't think that there's any real threat of like a V-shaped recovery right here. Even coming up to 53,000 bucks is not asking for too much right now. Not that I'm saying that it's going to happen. It's just, it doesn't really change anything for me. So if you are looking for like the full-on bull, I think that that's still a little bit further away. And there's still, a good chance that Bitcoin comes back down somewhere around the weekend's wick low, somewhere around there. It doesn't need to be exact, of course, to 42,000 bucks or whatever it was, but somewhere around there would be fair game. Wash out the late longers because they haven't really been tested, and then party on preps again. King Cosmic, there he is. Henlo, some dog talk. What's up, man? Peace to all watching 1 hour in daily. Oh, you know it, man. You fucking know it. So Spy over here. We said this one very likely opens up on a bounce yesterday. However, wow, that's not a bounce. That's a reversal. That's a reversal, baby. Holy shit, that's the lows in on this one. Wow, that actually might change things a little bit. That actually might change things quite a fair bit right there. So yesterday I did say very likely opens up on a bounce, but assuming assuming that bounce gets canceled and we close back down below 45.60, I'll be looking for this one to continue on into next week. But that's not what we got. We closed well above the 55. Beautiful, fucking beautiful, man. I'd be looking for extension of bounce right here, as you did take out your last lower high right here. So what was the target based off of that? Somewhere around 46.30 to 46.40 or so. Do you believe that we're working our way right there? This is a nice local low in place, not just on the short-term time frames, but also on the daily. This is a good reversal, and I imagine that we also do have hidden bullish divergence here? No, we actually don't. It is not actually as low as what we did see in our last correction in October, but not bad right there. And yeah, I'm not going to have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly either, so that does make me a bit skeptical, to be fair. But I would be looking for short-term upside and probably somewhere around 46.40, maybe as much as 46.50 or so. I would say if you are looking for trappies here, similar to Bitcoin, I would be cognizant of the 46.50 level. So as long as you're below there, still kind of questionable. I do expect from a long-term perspective, but right now local lows in, and I do look for this one to trade sideways and up from here. Probably test around there. If you see weakness around there, that would be a bad sign. If you see it actually close above there, that'd be a pretty damn good sign that this is your next, like, not just local low, but major low. And I guess party continues on for a little bit longer. Let's see, how does the monthly look like after that? Oh my God, that'd be one hell of a move. And well, I guess you kind of have to. I guess that would really open up the probabilities that Bitcoin does push through from here, and the low actually already is in. So perhaps being aware of both of these charts right here would be worthwhile, especially in the next 48 hours or so. Because if you do see that, that'd actually be pretty damn good. So hopefully that was helpful, man. I should also offer up an invalidation on the other side. That's going to be very easily below about 4,600 or so. Yeah, below 4,600, that gets invalidated. And I do look for, correction down to about 45.60 to 45.70 or so first. But until then, okay. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Jack? Okay, MATIC Ethereum. I remember you called this one out yesterday. It was actually one of the more interesting altcoin charts, not just versus US dollar, but also versus Ethereum as well. And let's just go check in on it. And what do we have? Beautiful, man. Fucking beautiful. And I remember, this is not the chart we want to be looking at. We want to be looking at Bittrex, I believe. Yeah, and this is really fucking good here, man. This one is actually a full-on reversal and a major macro low versus Ethereum. So MATIC is, well, most likely to outpace Ethereum right here. And I do look for this one to trade up towards 60 to 61,000 butyrols, maybe even a little bit higher than that over time, towards 65. That's the big area right there. But overall, quite good. Invalidation, obviously going to be below about 47,000. Until then, man, this is a good move, and MATIC gonna very likely outpace Ethereum in this next little drive here. So not bad, man, not bad. Again, I suspect that that's, well, let's actually go check out the US dollar parent. I haven't done that this morning. Let's see. Okay, so we got a correction down to 175 from that we looked for yesterday. Okay, actually pretty much to the T, not bad. Not bad. And then immediate move. I mean, that's about as strong as you can be, I guess, right there. And you're basically at your macro level already. Yeah, really, really good. Really fucking good right there. Sweet. Gemini Athlete MMA says bat 4-hour, 12-hour daily. Sure, man. I remember this one was also maybe on the stronger side yesterday, or was it? Or let's see. Yeah, this one put in a higher low right here. Hidden bullish evidence alongside that. Do look for this one to trade up somewhere around about $1.50 or so. Same thing on the 4-hour right here. I only invalidate that below about $1.25. Looking for a retest of your lows if that were to happen. But for right now, showing a little bit more upside continuation first before anything else. And, you know, what is this long term? It's just an uptrend, man. It's just an uptrend. Sloppy as fuck because, well, you get these wicks going every which way. But that's, well, that's what you sign up for with altcoins, I suppose. But, you know, overall good, man. As long as it's got the uptrend, I don't have any reason to not like this chart, I guess, long term. Just depends what kind of time frame that you're on, I guess. You also did ask about a 12-hour. Not really getting anything interesting over here on a 12-hour that already hasn't been set on a daily, but same sort of areas of interest right there. And again, invalidation on short-term bullishness and short-term continuation to about $1.50 below about $1.25. It's kind of tight margin right there, but okay. Cloudmaster, appreciate that, brother, but feel free to have a message as well, sir. Gemini Athlete MMA says MATIC 4-hour daily. There it is. All right, we'll do a video on MATIC. I think it deserves another one. This one's fast moving, baby, very fast moving. So let me take a sip of this one, and here we go. Oh, is Mr. Plums here? Is Mr. Plums? I see you, Mr. Plums. I don't see you, but I see people talking about you. Oh, there he is. Bear Nutrition. What's up, Bear Nutrition? Good to see you, brother. Good to fucking see you, man. There's my nutritionist, actually. All right, cool. Let's do a video on this one. Here we have Polygon, symbol MATIC. It's very difficult to say, but all good. Anyways, yesterday we did say a correction first down to about 175, and then very likely a bounce there, and long-term weekly is still bullish. And I couldn't have told you that was going to happen all in the same, almost the same like 12-hour stint right there, but not bad. So we did get our move down, yeah, a little bit below 175. That's fair enough. And then pop back on up above the macro level. In fact, even closing above 2.25 right here on the day. Really fucking good price action. Another, you know, just another higher low. The trend remains, and long-term on the weekly, this is looking like a weekly macro breakout. Actually, we do see weekly is above your last sort of major consolidation levels, and on top of that, we do see volatility is starting to turn up here as well, which is what you do expect. You expect volatility expansion alongside a major consolidation like this resolved on a weekly, which is, you know, a high term time frame, especially for an asset like this. Let's put on log scale as well to give it its fair dues. And we do see weekly RSI back in the bullish control zone. So with that in mind, I still do look at my long-term targets as relevant right here. We have the technical target based off of this as a formation up to about 3.5. Yeah, somewhere around about 3.5, which is around the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. Now, I very likely do look for pullbacks along the way, one of them being about 265, and then the next one being about $3. But overall, very, very good chart right here. One of the better charts that we've seen, certainly today and over the last week or so. You know, the good charts get rewarded, and any sort of strength in Bitcoin, this one very likely does even better, of course. So I do want to check it out over here just to see, and then we'll talk about an invalidation. It's going to be the same thing as yesterday, basically, but might as well talk about it again. Daily turning up, or sorry, staying up as long as above 235. Good. 5-day, which just closed last night, is freshly up in the bullish control zone above 176. That's actually around the invalidation, basically yesterday's low. And 4-hour remains upside posture as long as above $2 as well. So this is looking really, really good, trending right now in front of our very faces. Invalidation basically below yesterday's low, or on a daily closing base below about 185 or so would do it for me. I don't think that's what's happening, but fair enough. Always need to have something like that. Until then, trend continuation, man. This is looking really fucking good. One of the better charts, I think, in cryptocurrency land right now, and hopefully that's helpful. There you go for MATIC, sir. Nice, man. Let's see. Henry Kreftifer says OXY 1 hour and overall view. Okay, so just say overall view then. All right. Oxygen ecosystem. Got a great name. Everyone needs oxygen, right? So, oh, motherfucker, man. With a name like that, how could you have a shitty chart like this, sir? This is terrible. This is fucking awful, man. is real fucking awful. Scaling into this from other shitcoin profits pre-dump has somewhat made up for leverage fuck-ups in my attempt to go from paper to real trading. Emotions suck. Sir, when you see something that only goes down over a long period of time, you don't want to get into that first fucking thing. Wait for a goddamn reversal, man. There's absolutely no reason to scale into a piece of shit like this, man. It's only ever gone down. It hasn't been around for too long, but since March, which is good enough to analyze the daily right there. Look, it's a fucking piece of garbage, man, is what it is. This is garbage. Absolute fucking hot garbage. So I don't know, maybe if there's another, oh my god, it's even worse over here on Kraken. Hold on, let's try Finex. Maybe Finex is going to be nice. Nope, terrible as well. Holy shit. And here's a real chart. Wait, actually it's not too much different than the prior chart. Maybe a Sendex will have more history. Has a little bit more history, but just as shitty, man. Just only goes down. So yeah, man, really not an inspiring chart right here. There's absolutely not, look, this thing is long-term a piece of garbage as long as you are below about 240. And that's very far away from where you're at currently. So I don't think that there's any real reason to be, super optimistic about something like this unless you just get a really, really strong broad market. But short term, as you did request on an hourly, yeah, you got a short-term reversal right here. It's very likely to trade back up towards 163. I mean, shit, man, this thing could even trade all the way back up to 175, and it would still just be an hourly, just an hourly meltdown right there. So yeah, I do think that you are bouncing here. So short term, very likely to trade up. I think 170 is actually quite likely. I would really only change around my medium-term view above about 195. That's where it does start to look a short, medium-term okay again. But if you're going for like the long-term investment, I guess, there's not really anything comforting about this thing as long as you're below about 235 to 240. So upside is very likely capped right there. Can I be wrong about this? Yes, absolutely. That's why I do call it these areas. But until then, I just don't have any reason to expect anything different, except for, probably a nice bounce right here, to be fair. Bounce could easily even come to $2, and it's just another lower high for me on a daily, on trending, on a trending daily down. Just terrible, man. Fucking terrible. Yeah, man. So basically you're saying somewhat made up for my leverage fuck. So you must have bought the exact low if it's actually helping you out right now. So yeah, probably okay here. I'd get extremely bearish on it again for, I guess in this case, new all-time lows below about 145 on an hourly, but it's probably more likely to bounce here. If it does fail, 125 to 120 is where I'm looking towards, but just garbage right there. Absolute garbage. Unless you truly believe in the fundamentals, man, which maybe you do, and that probably gives you a bit of an edge. That's not what I'm doing over here. I'm just going off the straight charts. But whenever I see a chart like this that pretty much only sells, that tells me that the founders who likely have all the supply on this thing, they have been selling it to you and probably also selling you a narrative as well. But fair enough, man. Maybe events or information, which is a different game, and that could be relevant. But as far as charts go, very, very bad. Very likely to bounce here, though. Very likely to bounce here, but very bad overall. Mr. Almasari says, Tether overview. Okay, yeah, this would be an interesting one to be doing. So I think, was it you or maybe someone else called this out the other day, last week? This was one of the more concerning things long-term that we've been looking at, because Tether is putting in a macro low right here. It does look like, and it's also a higher low. Not that I think trend is too important on this one. But here's the thing. Let's make this nice and simple. We're going to put this on a line chart, and we are going to compare this with Bitcoin and just see if, well, we'll just see what cannot be unseen after this, which is they do seem to play, do they seem to play obtuse with each other? Yeah, definitely more recently. You do see Tether going down while Bitcoin goes up. You do see the same thing over here. Bitcoin going a little bit down, Tether going up right there. How much do I trust this? How much do I not trust this? Maybe go to a daily and see if there's anything more obvious reason. Yeah, okay, it is very, ever since especially like October 2020, it has been very much counter to it, or contra to it, I should say. Before that, was it? No, not necessarily, actually. Basically from last flu dump in March 2020 to that same October 2020 region, different. Oh, it's frozen? Is it frozen? Is it wrecked? Is it? Okay, should be fine. Should be fine. Should be good right there. Should just refresh. It's all good. But yeah. We do typically see more often than not a counter relationship between the two. So, is this a major low on Tether? It kind of is on Tether dominance, at least. Put it back on over here. Can analyze it just in the old-fashioned way, but I don't know, man. That's that would probably, if I wanted to create a big bear case, this would be it. This would be it. There's a couple other things to be aware of as well for a big bear case, but this would be a big portion of that. So maybe I'll do that over the weekend, scare the shit out of some people. But yeah, fair enough. I mean, again, you know, I would say to be a little more on the cautious side. Anyways, let's see. Trent Norton says HGR 4 hour and daily. Sure, man. So this is Hathor network. Not great. Not great right there, man. All right, so you're looking at a 4 hour and daily. Again, most likely to follow whatever Bitcoin does, but if you're going on to a 4 hour, do we have a nice local low? Yes, indeed we do. Is there hidden bearish divergence forming right here? No, there is not. So that's a good indication that we probably do continue the rally a little bit more. Anywhere around 150 is fair game, but keep in mind where your lower highs come in around, which is right now 157. I think that we have some new accompanied little canines coming in right now. I'm trying to say dogs, for fuck's sake. Anyways, yeah, man. 150. I do think is somewhat likely in the short-term time frames. At least I'm not seeing anything that's giving me a big concern that it's going to top out exactly right here. Probably easy to watch what Bitcoin's going to do because this one's not necessarily strong on its own and did get hit pretty fucking hard the last few days right there. But here's the thing. You actually would still have a weekly uptrend, I do guess, if you put in a local low right here, which so far the response has been good. Other than that, I guess you do kind of treat it as such, as long as you're closing daily dildos above about 110. So that's kind of where I'd have my sort of invalidation for this one. As long as you're above there, I guess it is still, long-term okay. If you're going down to a 4 hour, I think that you probably do continue a little bit more from here, especially if Bitcoin gets a move up to 53, let's say. But ultimately, if you do start to see some hidden bearish divergence on a 4 hour RSI, which right now you do not have, with any sort of move below about 156, that's probably your next short-term local high. And you come back down and test around that region that we just spoke about. But as long as you're above there, still long-term okay. So don't want to get too ahead of myself right here. The 5-day, is this looking like a major low or not? It could definitely be, yes. So I'm actually kind of struggling with this chart right here. It's a little bit too, yeah, I'm not really having any strong reads on this one. All I can tell you is the most obvious things, which right now is that it is still in an uptrend. So I do have to respect that for the long term. So I'd still be bullish on that. Short term, actually still very likely continues to move from right there. So I guess I'm cautiously looking for some short-term upside. Where would it start to look a lot more obviously better? And I'd be looking for continuation of trend, because that's probably the answer that, or the question that you're really asking. That would be above about 188 right there. That's the big area in my opinion. Until then, bit of sideways right there. Didn't kill anyone. Anyways, Jack Bayless, except for breakout traders, definitely fucking killed them. Jack Bayless says Terra 4 hour and daily. Sure, man. Okay, so let's type it in over here. Terra, I guess. Okay, Taraxa, not familiar with this one, but fair enough. And you're looking at a 4 hour and daily. 4 hour, same thing as the last one, kind of daily, kind of same thing as the last one as well. Probably do rally up from here. Would like to see this one actually clear above about 1 spot 9 cent before it is, generally okay long term. Then again, I look at the weekly, probably not. 5-day, not great. Yeah, man. Probably does have one more move to the upside. Anywhere around 1.8 to 1.9 cent is fair game, but I do remain cautious on this one as long as you're below, especially about, let's call it 2 cents in this case. So again, whenever we're talking about altcoins, it's probably easier to just focus on Bitcoin, because this one's likely going to play in the same fashion as Bitcoin, but as like a more emotional younger brother in a sense. So if Bitcoin shows any weakness, I do look for this one to come back down and retest around, just below 1 cent lows. Until then, I guess I'm cautiously looking for a little bit of sideways and up, but just be aware of where the trend actually changes. As long as you're below 2 cents, can't really get too excited about something like this. But I would not necessarily, at the same time, I'd not be bearish on some while Bitcoin, is showing a little bit of short-term strength. So fair enough, man. Probably not too helpful on this one, but the long term is what the long term is, and it's mostly down. So I'm very inclined to say, hey, look, even if Bitcoin does go up, this one's on the relatively weak side. And if it's on the relatively weak side, it is usually not going to be the one worth putting a bunch of attention to. Into the downside, it very likely overperforms in that case. Anyways, Trent Norton says CRV also please 1 hour in 4 hours. Sure, man. Let's see how this one's held up. This one, I really hope it's actually put in a higher low. That'd be a good sign. And see, it looks like it's working. It's trying to work its way right there. 5-day, still corrective here, but overall fine. I mean, you still have your long-term uptrend available to you as long as you're above about 285 to 290 or so. So that leaves a lot of room for error right there. I think that this one's still going to be corrective short-term, but Long term, you know, probably one of the ones worth paying a little bit more attention to, because it actually did have a nice uptrend before and was operating a little bit more in a relatively strong manner. Anyway, short term time frame. Oh, we have a dog. We have two dogs, actually. We do see that 4-hour RSI is going to be printing some hidden bearish divergence. If you do confirm a local high right here, which will happen below 364. Oh shit, we got flying dog coming inbound right now, and I'd be looking for a retest of your lows after that if that were to happen. I'm getting some action. This is good. Yeah, hump me, baby. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? This turned into Krown's kennel cave, and now he's talking about humping dogs. So there's that. You came to the weird place of the internet, I'll tell you that right now. Anyways, let's see, what does weekly look like right here? Yeah, same thing as a 5-day. Again, long term, I do like it as long as you remain within the uptrend, but short term, I'm probably looking for sideways at best. Where do I start to switch around my mind on the short term, looking for continuation of trend? Again, I think that's probably the question that you're most likely more interested in. That would be above 470 on a 4-hour. As long as you're above there, or sorry, below there, still corrective short term. Long term, okay, just as long as you do not crash down below, what was it, 360, I think it was? Something like 360. Basically your Saturday low. Sorry, no, make that 285. Apologies on that one. There you go, sir. All right, Eric Lataweek says, do you plan on trading crypto options someday, given your background? Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. The problem is that the most liquid option exchanges, Deribit, does not allow Americans to trade there. So until I convince Elsa to I probably shouldn't talk about this on stream. How about that? There you go. Yeah, and they are great for a volatile market like crypto. I mean, they're severely mispriced right now, because it's like, how do you even fucking price them? You know, it's very, very difficult. I can't imagine being a market maker in them, because first off, they're not very liquid, and even on Deribit, which is the most liquid exchange, still it's, you know, it ain't great. Anyways, you're looking at Wolf on NYSE. But, you know, there is a lot of opportunity with them, especially with the vol plays, which usually I'm not a big fan of, but because Bitcoin is so fucking volatile, there were a few times in the past where I was allowed to trade there before the new rules came in, where it was quite nice, I'll say, quite nice indeed. Anyways, looking at Wolf right here. What time frames are you looking at? No time frames given. God damn it, man. God fucking damn it. But let's see. Well, yeah, you're gonna have your bearish divergence right there. A little bit of corrective short term. Wouldn't mind a move down to about 106 or so, but I'm looking for bounces around there. Long term, the uptrend resumes essentially as long as you're above like $100. So, you know, short term corrective most likely. Let's see if we go down to a 4-hour time frame or an hourly. Is this one more likely to bounce right here, short term or not? Yeah, it's more likely to bounce here. Again, Nasdaq's bouncing as well. I don't know if this is. I don't know exactly what this stock is, but I'm seeing more signals of bounce here first. So probably like 125 short term. Long term, just another higher low. The question is, does it come here? Does it come all the way down to $100? Either one is fair game. I don't really have a strong proclivity on that, but I do remain long term bullish on it, especially as long as you're above $100. Looking for this one to trade sideways and up outside of this range. What does a monthly look like? Yeah, monthly still okay, but just corrective here. And long term, just a nice general uptrend. And this one actually is resolving at the macro range as of October. So still actually good there long term, to be fair. All right, cool. Ben Garrison, appreciate that, brother. But again, feel free to have a message. BK says CRV We already got that one, so good there. Shekhar says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? VET FY, lactose pills will help you keep fighting the good fight against lactose. Man, I don't even want to deal with it. Like, if I have to take a pill just to be able to drink some milk, which I don't even care for to begin with, I don't even want anything to do with. But I do appreciate your, I do appreciate the knowledge there. Anyways, Vet over here. Okay, so we looked at this one yesterday. Yeah, we looked at this one yesterday and still, I mean, long-term at best corrective here. Now, do we have a higher low here, technically speaking? We closed about 89.5. This one closed 91.5. So no, we do not. Monthly, just kind of, it's bouncy, but long-term difficult. This one can rally up all the way to 10.7, 10.8 cents and still be not great short-term. Anyways, you're looking at a daily and weekly, so you are more long-term angled right here. I'm curious actually if this one's more likely to bounce short term. Yeah, it is. I do think that you get a continuation on this bounce. About 10.5 cents is not asking for too much, and I really wouldn't change my mind on this one as long as you're below long term about 12.25. Until then, it's just corrected at best. A strong Bitcoin likely helps this one out, but it is more on the relatively weak side, which is not great. So, you know, short term, can it bounce up? Yeah, 10.5 to 11 cents or so, but as long as you're below 12.25. Not great, man. I need to take off my socks. It's getting like hot here, man. It's getting real hot in this place, even though it's like negative 15 degrees outside. Elsa says, are you crazy? Yes, I am fucking crazy. I look at magic internet money for hours at a time on stream. Anyways, yeah, man, I do think that this one's cautious as long as you're especially below 12.25 cent, but short term very likely continues on with the old bouncy bounce right there. And hey, if you do get back above 12.25 cent, then I guess correction over, but I think it's a little bit less likely right now. Colin Penrod says, hey, Krown, can I get a super 4-hour in daily? Hey, man, I'm glad that you're enjoying the podcast. It's really fun to do, actually. Just kind of that sort of, relaxed conversation, talking a little bit about trading crypto and then all sorts of life shit that we can get into. A really, really good response here from Super. So, oh my God, man, this one got absolutely fucking schlacked down to one. God damn, man. Nasty move, man. We haven't looked at this one in like a week or so. This is Colin Penrod. Anyways, let's go to weekly. It's a really good response right there, man. That's a really good response. I'm not going to be bearish on this thing right here. What about a low term time from like a 4-hour? Short term, does it pull back a little bit? I mean, you still got lower highs, technically speaking, and bearish and hidden bearish divergence will be available to you as long as you're below on a 4-hour closing base about 181.5 or so. But here's the thing, coming back down and setting in a higher low anywhere around about $1.25 to $1.30 would be completely fine. That's not necessarily bearish on this one. This one's had a really good response right here. So I'm a lot more inclined to say that this one still long-term is okay. However, the resolution points for upside continuation are still the same as before. So that would be right here at about $2 even actually on a daily closure. Until you get above there, sideways, sideways and up is like the name of the game. Just want to see a closure above about $2. And at that point, I would still be looking for the macro move somewhere around your May breakdown levels, which is also confluent with the 1.618 at about 2.5 to 260 or so. In long term, that would look really, really good if that did happen. But, this one actually having a really good response here. So I guess I'd count it among some of the relatively strong, actually. That's a pretty fucking good one, from $1 all the way up to 170 in basically a day. That's not a bad response, man. So that does kind of speak for itself. Anyways, Khalifa says, morning, sir. What's up, man? Strong daily, weekly? Sure. Did I miss a good entry yesterday? Perhaps yes. But it depends what time frame you're looking for, man. If you're looking for like short-term trades, then yeah, you did. If you're looking for long-term trades, I would still express caution with this one. You still have lower highs, but you don't have hidden bearish divergence available to you just yet. So, where would I change my mind on this one short term above $600 even? I don't think that we looked at this one yesterday, but daily has a nice hammer dildo on the lows. Bullish divergence come off the lows. I respect that right there, obviously. Very likely to continue on with bounce overall, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing somewhere around about 650 over the next week or two. Long term, where does this one start to just look good again? Well, I guess, it's still in a weekly uptrend, but man, that might just be one massive head and shoulders forming, but that would still imply some short-term and medium-term continuation. I'd still stick with that, man. I'm probably looking for a move up to 650 or so, and then come back to it after that. But did you miss a long-term good entry? I don't know. Or did you miss a good entry yesterday? Not even long-term? Then yes, obviously, because you bounced up all the way from like 380 to where you're at right now. That's very, very commendable for a trade, but is it still like the long-term best entry? I want to see like an actual reversal before I call that, but I do think you can continue from here. So, can it work its way upwards and onwards? Where would I call long-term reversal? Towards new all-time highs, back above 870. So it's got a lot of work to do, but these ranges are massive here, so there's a lot of opportunity. It just depends what time frame you're looking at, man. Anyways, Chad Reddick says, hey, good to see you, Matt. Good to see you as well, sir. Potential W pattern on Bitcoin dominance chart. Man, okay, the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is one that I've just been not getting right at all. Is this a potential W bottom chart? No, if anything, it would actually be a potential M chart, which is a continuation formation, in this case, redistribution. You do have still lower highs long term, to be fair. So as long as you're kind of oscillating within this technical structure right here, it is still long-term bearish, I guess. But here's the thing, man. I don't think that I don't think that indicators really work on Bitcoin dominance, nor do I think I don't really think anything works on Bitcoin dominance other than straight up trend, and the trend has just been down. So I got way too aggressive on this one way back on over here in October, looking for this to be the reversal when it was unconfirmed, and that's the problem with being a little more on the aggressive side, obviously. But for right now, still remains within its overall downtrend. The problem with Bitcoin dominance is that you can't actually trade the Bitcoin dominance chart. And what you can trade if you want to trade like big baskets of a bunch of shitcoins is these like these DeFi perps and these alt perps and shit perps and whatnot on FTX. You can actually do that there. So it's better to actually just look at those individualistic names if you want to trade individualistic names, or look at the sectors that actually do trade, because those ones likely are going to trade a lot more technically, because you actually have people, you know, trading those charts in comparison to this thing over here. Which you can't actually trade this specific chart, obviously. So I've just started to look care about it less and less. And if you can break things down by sector now, which you can, and you can actually trade those sector baskets, that's actually quite useful. So I'll just leave that right there, man. And I'm going to might need some more water, actually, man. Holy shit. Actually, also, could I ask you for some more water? This is just kill that one real fast. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, let's see. What else do we have? What else do we have? All right. Suede says, morning, sir. At RMRK on the 5-minute, hourly, and daily. All right. It's quite the spread of time frames right there, but hey, you asked for it, not me, man. Really good. Really, really good. Wow. Holy shit. Look at that. How come no one asked about this one yesterday? This is actually a rather interesting chart. 5-minute, just an uptrend, looking for it to continue up to like 50 and a half or so. It's very short term. I mean, maybe that's relevant to you or not. I don't know. I guess you asked for it, so it probably is. Hourly, do we continue up a little bit more? Yeah, probably one more drive. Anywhere around 52 is fair game. Daily, well, dare I say that it's likely another higher low in the making right here. I have to be bullish in this one as long as you're above about 42 and a quarter. Looking sideways and up. I'm curious what a 4 hour looks like. Yeah, 4 hours fine as well. Hidden bullish evidence right here. You didn't ask about this time frame, but this one's actually the more revealing of them all. I'm probably looking for sideways and up right here. I have no reason to be bearish on this thing as long as you're above about, what was it, 42 and a quarter. Short-term out invalidate, short-term continuation below 46.75 on it, even on an hourly closure below there. Until then, you know, it's okay. It's actually decent. Very good response, all things considered. Let's see. Shauna, Alexis Kaiser says, oh, welcome to the cave. Hey, welcome to the cave. Umbrella Corporation says, I power bottom for Krown, sexy and seductive TA. Oh, man. We're making some fucking TA, gay for TA babies right now. This is good. This is really, really good. No, Nell says no babies. What about puppies? How about some TA puppies right here? Almasari says storage, USD, daily, weekly, sharp. Let's pop it up. Storage, USD. Okay, Binance. I remember this one was actually okay last week. Let's see how it fared over the weekend. There he is again, Mr. Lucky flying on in. Not bad. I mean, this is still, look, this is still a long-term uptrend. There's nothing wrong with this, man. You also have hidden bullish divergence on a weekly. If you do confirm a local lows here, probably not happening this week, but maybe next week. This one would look a lot better short term for just trendy move to the upside above about 230 on a daily closure. That would actually look pretty damn good. Until then, short term sideways is good for the BULAs, obviously. Do you have hidden bearish divergence potential here? You do. If you do confirm a local high, that'll be confirmed with a 4-hour closure, even a 2-hour closure below 125 in this case, very likely implying another move towards lows right now. But for what it's worth, you know, again, as long as Bitcoin has some short-term upside potential, this one very likely follows as well. Somewhere around about 2 to 210 or so is where I'd be looking for, and then look for the daily to kind of take over. If you start to close daily dolders back above, what was it, 230? 225 to 230 or so, that's going to look good for the long term. And to be fair, the weekly, still good. I mean, this is just an accumulation phase after a nice mega move, and you're pretty much at a macro level already. So I guess if you're like looking very long term, I'd get very excited above about 275. But for right now, this one's one of the better acting ones, to be fair. And Bitcoin is continuing on with the rally short term. So let's go check it out. Yeah, there we go. Just a nice little flag out and up. Nice little flag out and up, baby. All right, let's see. Mr. Sneaky says, would a short on AVAX around $100 be good? Well, okay, so here's what I can tell you. Based off of your comment, it would be a terrible fucking idea for you specifically to do. The reason why I say that immediately as a reaction is because you do not include a risk management point, you do not include a target point, and not even a time frame on top of that as well. So whatever trade strategy that you are contemplating there is incomplete, or at least in the way that you presented it to me, it's very much incomplete. So I'd say it's a terrible idea. It's a fucking terrible idea. And to be fair, AVAX is putting in a local low right here. We do have hidden bullish divergence, so you know, would it be good for like a short-term setup? Maybe you're on like a fucking hourly and you're just looking for a quick scalp or something. Well, at that point, well, let's go see. Maybe it is. But again, without actually laying out a plan, you cannot expect long-term success. You just can't. The reason being because yeah, I mean, what is your strategy right there? I don't know what your strategy is. Just $100 looks good. It's a psychological even number, so I short it. not going to be long-term successful with something like that. And I'm not saying that to, again, speak downwards towards you. It's because I have done these things myself, and it's only led me towards, you know, major losses. So you don't need to fucking, it just seems like a gamble to me. I do think that you get a bit of a pullback around 100 to 101, but I mean, you don't even have a fucking target point on that. I don't think, I do think that this thing is going to continue onwards and up from here. Again, long term, this is good. It's just, you know, what does Bitcoin do? Does Bitcoin play out more of a correction or not? If Bitcoin does, this thing probably comes back down to $80 and you have a great trade. But would that come exactly from $100? Probably not. No. If this thing's going to put in a lower high and trend and like continue trend down, probably looking somewhere around about $1.10 to $1.15 or so. For right now, I'm looking for a continuation of bounce, probably more so around about 104 to 105 region on the daily. Again, I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, but I respect the hidden bullish evidence right here, and I expect weekly higher lows for right now. Cool. Vic Fix says, hello, first time. All right, man. Good to meet you, sir. It's the first time. Please pop my cherry. Whoa. That's not what we do here, sir. Cardano, Finex, short and long, short and long. What? Oh, short and long term is what you mean. Okay, should we go pick on the Cardano people? I believe we did call a bounce on this one yesterday, but I would not be calling a reversal on this thing anytime soon. Let's see. Where's my Carderpio? Carderpio. Show me your Herpio. Yep, I did get the bounce. Nice. All right. Still pretty ugly long term. Anyways, I love Finland. I love Finland too, man. I'd swim with you in ice any day. All right, man. I'll hold you to it, sir. But it's seriously cold here. Like I'll let you know. It's very, very cold. Anyways, it's literally like -15 or -20 today. It's insane. This is not weather for humans, says Elsa. And the crazy thing is that there's even other places in Finland called Lapland that are even colder than that. I think it's like -30 or -40 there. It's like you can't even go outside, man. It's insane. Matteo says you can't come in and short after the move has already happened. Yeah, it's hindsight trading, usually not very profitable. I do agree. Anyways, looking at this right here. Okay, all right, so long and short. So let's start off with short-term time frame first. Still operating on lower highs for a very long time, as long as you're below about 170. So short-term, can you continue the rally up to 150 or maybe even as much as 155? Yeah, it wouldn't really be asking for too much as well. And as long as Bitcoin does remain with short-term upside potential, you know, Cardano, same thing right here. Problem is that you will have hidden bearish divergence available to you pretty much the whole way through. So I would invalidate that for short-term bullishness, which again, this is not the relatively strong one that I really want to be having my eyes on, but fair enough. Below about 139.5. If that were to be hit, I would be looking for another run towards your 130 to 125 lows. Long term, really, really bad here. Nothing really comforting about this on a daily as long as you're below about 172. That's where that one does start to flip the trend. Weekly, I guess the hopium here on a weekly is that you do potentially have a weekly higher low, but this thing's had so many damn chances. It is right around the 55, so I should really be looking for higher lows around this region, and you will have hidden bullish evidence on a weekly RSI as well. But man, talk about a relatively weak chart. This would definitely be it. Monthly still says we're in a bouncy area more than not, so you know, I do have reservations on this chart, obviously, as it has been so relatively weak. But for right now, you know, likely does carry it on a little bit sideways and up from here. I guess I don't really look for like any major downside moves as long as you're above about $1.30, let's call it, even on a 4-hour closure. Below there, look for this one to blow out again and come all the way back down to about a buck or so, kind of test around the weekend lows and then try for a bounce there. Again, I don't think that this thing, you know, truly breaks down. If it is going to break down, it probably doesn't happen yet, or at least like this month. If I had to guess, it probably spends a little bit of time bouncing off the 21, as things typically do. So I'd give it a chance here, but again, just understand that this one is relatively weak, and I mean, daily is downtrending, especially as long as it's below 172. So it's kind of a hard one to love right here. What?
There was a chat from Ben Garrison.
Okay.
But there was no message.
Yes. Can you just tell it to me?
XMR.
Oh, Monero. Wow. XMR versus Bitcoin?
Yeah,
Okay.
Long-term $1.
Daily looks absolutely shitty. Weekly looks absolutely shitty. Pretty bad versus the Bitcoin parent. I imagine the US dollar parent is kind of doing whatever Bitcoin does. But I would be looking for general bounces around the 3,800 to 3,850-ish level. It's going to take some time on a weekly here, obviously, but the hopium is that you're gonna put in another bounce off of your prior lows, which typically do. Bounces can come up very easily towards 5,000 satoshis, and with a little more work, about 5,800 satoshis. Long term, obviously very, very ugly here. It just kind of trends towards zero, but and you just got another monthly lower high. So while I do think that it probably gives you one more bounce from this low 3,000 level, it very likely is just that, a bounce. And again, 5,000 to 5,800 is fair game, but long term I remain bearish on this chart as long as you're below the monthly last lower high, which is 7,500. So that's really, really far away, and that's the same thing on the weekly as well. Actually a little bit higher on the weekly, so the monthly is more forgiving here, as typically is. But yeah. Julio Yu says, can Badao have a breakout similar to Phantom? I mean, anything can do anything, right? But what's the probabilities of it? So let's go see this. So I'm guessing you're basically asking probably about like, oh my, no, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? What the fuck is this? Badao? Should be called bidet. It's fucking terrible, man. This is hot garbage as long as you're below 230, or sorry, 2.3 cent. Can it have a breakout similar to Phantom? Anything can have a breakout similar to Phantom, or anything for that matter. But what's the probability of it? Very, very low. Very fucking low. If you're talking about Phantom, like one of the biggest gainers in a long like this thing, you're talking about this thing. This thing. Maybe like a breakout. Where's the breakout, by the way? Is it over here, or is it the breakdown over here? Whatever it is, man. Bidet, fucking bidet coin. Badao. Man, they couldn't have thought of a worse name for this piece of shit. Well, actually, it's quite relevant. It is a piece of shit. And hold on. Wait, is there another chart that we can maybe pull up? There's HoneySwap. HoneySwap's actually not bad. Hey, what the fuck? This is, well, it doesn't really trade over here. I'm going to go with Poloniex on this one. Poloniex says garbage, but can it happen? Yes. Where would it happen? Okay, here's the real question. Where do you actually look at that as relevant? I'm guessing that's like the real question. It might have a breakout above about 2.3 cents. Would it be of the same severity as Phantom? I would not say that at first pass. This is garbage, most likely. But hey, back above 2.3 cents, you probably get a major breakout. I don't know if it's going to go like thousands of percents like Phantom, though. That's a bit of hoping right there. Although I should let you know, man, you have a really nice dog. You have a really nice looking dog right there. So at least you got that, man, alongside your bidet tokens. Jesus, what?
Do you want to close the super chat now or 9?
Give it like another 5-10 minutes. It's fine. I think it's going to be fine today. Jesus Vargas says, morning sirs, what's up, man? LRC for and daily. Yeah, man, I'm glad that you're enjoying the ones with Jason, because I am as well. They're fun, man. They're super fun. Anyways, loop ring over here. Okay, interesting. All right, daily, 5-day. These are having some really good responses over the last 24 hours, man. I would have been very quick well, we did get our we did get a bounce off the 21 right there. To be fair, if you're looking at a 5-day or weekly, this thing's just been in a range for the last about month and a half here, and very little has changed. You know what? I'm just going to do the easy chart like this. I know this is not going to be too helpful, but this is, if you are looking at the higher term time frames, which I think you might be interested in, this is what I'd be looking for, man. As long as you're kind of awesome between there on a 5-day closing basis, and by extension a weekly closing basis, that being 2.25 versus 3.25. Technically is a flag out formation at a high level, and very likely does lead towards long-term continuation. Let's go down to a 4-hour right here. 4-hour, let's see, are we looking at lower highs still? Yes, we are looking at lower highs still, as long as you're below about 290, and you do have hidden bearish divergence available to you. So how would you confirm this as a local high and thus confirm hidden bearish divergence? That would be with a 4-hour or even a 2-hour closure below about 230. Below there, I do look for this one to retest lows, and at that point, this one very likely does break down. But for right now, if you're looking at a daily, this one is actually kind of stopping itself at the level that you'd want at about $2 even. So kind of have to respect that actually right here. So yesterday I was probably bearish on this one. I'm going to be wrong about that, or I'm likely to be wrong about that right now. As long as it kind of holds this range on a daily, the range being between about $2 and $3.20. So that's different than the 5-day and weekly, obviously. A little bit higher on the low side, same thing on the upside. I do get this one the benefit of the doubt, and it probably is okay, but I'd be very, very quick to switch back down to exactly what I said yesterday, below $2, looking for big moves down to 110 to 1.25 or so. Until then, sideways is good for the Bulaws, and still kind of working off extreme conditions over here. So if we can hold the range while it trends down, especially below like 25 percentile, that would be good. But for right now, sideways at best. And short term, you know, going to continue with Bitcoin if Bitcoin continues. But here's the problem, is that you do have hidden bearish divergence available to you. So if that gets confirmed below, again, 230, on a 2 hour, then I look for this one to very likely retest lows. And at that point, it's going to give it a chance to like full on breakdown. I'm still skeptical of this one, to be fair. Mr. Josh, what's up, man? Okay, yo, bro. Hello, bro. How you doing, man? Which methods do you find helpful to see past or ignored market noise? I've done self-isolation and I feel it screws me up if I disconnect too much. Okay, so this is more of like a disconnect from market noise, like the news and whatnot. Okay, this is actually a really good question. I should record this. All right, here we have a great question from Mr. Josh, a lovely community member. And he's asking, which methods do you find helpful to see past or ignore market noise? I've done self-isolation and I feel it screws me up if I disconnect too much. So in the context of this question, I'm guessing you're asking about like confounding or just confusing pieces of news or social media, stuff like that, not necessarily like actual market noise, like in an indicator, like a signal to noise ratio. I just want to define terms here so that we're on the same page, but I believe that's what you're asking, because it sounds like if you're self-isolating, then that's the purpose of that, is to get away from external influences. Okay, yeah, so of course we all deal with this, myself included, right? And you get this from like the news, watching CNBC or watching like content like this. I mean, this you are getting my opinion on things or the way that I analyze things. But of course, we all have our very personal strategies and whatnot related to our personal preferences, which are all naturally going to be somewhat different, which is why, doing like a full-on signals group is kind of difficult to do, to be honest with you. Anyways, your question directly is, how do you see past that? How do you get past the market noise? Well, if self-isolation in your case is disconnecting you too much, how far are you going? How far are you going is the real question. Are you locking yourself in a dark room? Because the obvious answer is to, if you just want to remove it all, then you fucking remove it all. Obviously, you don't watch the news, you don't go on Twitter, especially crypto Twitter, and you don't watch YouTube videos, mine included. You want to separate yourself from that if you find it unvaluable, or if you just quite literally can't separate your own strategies from whatever the content is kind of talking about. Because again, people can have very similar strategies, or of course different strategies as well, and both be successful at the same time. That's the kind of the problem with it. So how do you see past that? Well, I'll tell you my answer pretty much for all of these questions. It's always the same, man. You have to be disciplined enough to always follow your plan, which I know that you have, because you're in the TA program and I speak with you rather frequently. And I know that you've actually gone through the rigmarole of setting out the trade checklist, the trade strategy checklist, which means that you've gone through, you've back tested that strategy, you've also forward tested it, and you know the statistics that come alongside of it as well. If you know that, then there's actually no reason why not to disconnect yourself from the news, because you should only be reliant on the statistics of your strategy, not on news pieces, which yes, can influence price action. Obviously, not every piece of news is completely irrelevant or just noise for that matter. There are some relevant things. The problem with news is that when you're listening to the news for your information, you're probably going to be one of the last people to know. My point is that when you're paying attention to the news people obviously know before you. And it's not like the news people just go on immediately breaking news, right? And present the case exactly as it happens. No, they have to get fed that story from someone else, because they don't obviously do the research themselves. They're just like a talking head piece. And that person who did the research, they obviously are getting it secondary as well, unless if they were literally the insider themselves, because that's probably the only way that you can really be truly reliant on news, is being like an insider, which is kind of illegal. So maybe not the best way to go about things. And so they're getting it from someone else. So it takes them time to synthesize the story and then get it out. So by the time that you're actually consuming the news yourself, you're way far down the list of God damn it, dogs. You're way far down the list of people that actually know. And it could be, days, weeks, whatever. So very, very likely the people who knew the news, sorry, bad alliteration right there, but you know what I mean. They likely knew way before, and they also made their decisions well before. And if they made their decisions well before, where does that show up? Not on the news, obviously. That shows up a lot later. But if they made their decisions before, aka they put their trades in, you're going to see it on price action. So it's probably the closest way that you can be to being an insider, by just being reliant on that. Yes, it's not going to be perfect. And yes, there are specific pieces of very relevant and new news which do matter. I'm not talking about that right now. But in essence, what I'm trying to say is that, hey, man, it sounds like you're probably on the right path. And and again, I know you and I know that you're quite successful. So I don't think that you really have to be doing too much different things, man. To be quite honest with you, you're doing fucking well. You're doing really, really well. So just kind of meditate on that fact as well. And hopefully that was in some way helpful, but just realize you have good problems, sir. You have good problems to have. We always have problems. I can assure you of that. You know, even after doing this for a very long time myself, I still have problems, sir. But they're better problems to be having, better than not being profitable, right? So hopefully that was helpful, man. And there you go. And thank you for that question too, man. I really like those sort of questions because it causes me to like really have to think rather than just looking at sometimes very inspiring or uninspiring charts. But all good, man. Elliot Tick says, "Good morning. Hey, good morning to you." Okay, close them now then. All right, so we're gonna close down these super chats after this moment. So anyone who's Yeah, I can pin your message. Is it already there? Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pin that message. Yeah, so all the super chats that are sent in after this moment, we will not read, but all the ones before this moment, we will certainly read. So all good right there. All right, Elliot Diggs wants to look at EGLD. Sure, man. EGLD, all right. USD, okay. This one, what are we doing? Yeah, remember we looked at this one yesterday. Is it more likely to bounce here alongside the rest of the market? Yeah, and I do believe that's what we said yesterday, but I would not confuse bounce with a macro low just yet. I do still think that this one could have like some severe downside on any sort of Bitcoin weakness down to like $200, or not necessarily 200, but like 230 to 250 or so. 4-hour time frame, are we getting ready for an extension of this bounce? Probably yes. I see many drives of bullish divergence come off the lows. Anywhere around 340 is fair game. But I do, yeah, it's kind of the same thing as yesterday. Short-term bouncy. I'm really hesitant to be looking at this one as like a reversal from here, as long as you're especially below. This is just not helpful, but this is like the amount of work that this thing really needs to do, which would be above $400 on a daily closure. Yes, very, hey, happy birthday, Mr. Ben. I see you over there. Above $400, but until then, you know, short-term still probably carries out the bounce. If Bitcoin shows any weakness, I'd be looking for this thing somewhere back down around about 2.25, maybe 250 or so, and tries for a major low right there. Long term, obviously very, very good. Again, just kind of depends what time frame that you're on. Weekly right here, obviously long term, it's just one massive uptrend, but problem with that is that you could easily come down to, you know, the low 200s and still remain within that long term uptrend. And again, we did hit extremes here on the daily many times. So I'm probably looking for short-term bouncy bounce. Any sort of weakness in Bitcoin, I look for that one to come back down, and I don't really call this one like a full-on reversal as long as you're below $400. So hopefully that's helpful, sir. Vince says CTSI daily and weekly. When will it break out? When? There's no way for me to know that, actually. Not a question that I could. Well, first off, this one's not even in a breakout posturing, so if it is going to break out, not anytime soon. It's easier to do it with price action. So what would be the relevant price action needed in order for this one to declare a breakout? So a weekly closure above about $1.20 would do it for me. Quite far away right now, but that would be it. If you're on a daily, same thing, about $1.20, above $1.20. I do look at this one as likely to enter into macro breakout territory. Until then, you still have your weekly higher lows, so that would be the hopium right here. The doomium is that you're going to come back down and take out 56 cents to the downside and get absolutely wrecked, but I don't think that's what's happening here, actually. This one, for what it's worth, the history that we have, which is good enough, actually, going back to April 2020, is mostly up and to the right, so I do like that. Short-term time frames, like a 4-hour, same thing as most of the charts. Short-term, a little bit of continuation of the bounce is fair game. Just be aware of where things actually do change around for the short-term time frames, which for this one isn't until about 87 cents on a 4-hour closure, and you will have hidden bearish divergence as long as you're below there. So if this thing confirms a local high with any sort of, even like a 2-hour closure below about 75.5 cents, I'd be looking for a retest of your current lows. Until then, carry on with the bounce. And easier to watch Bitcoin for direction here, as usual. Rhino's Ethereum says, hey, Krown, can you give me your thoughts for the coming months for all the ordinaries? Okay, so I guess that's symbol XAO. Let's see. Oh, okay, this is, you should have specified it. It's on ASX. Okay, got it. Well, at least you put in the name, so that's fair enough. Thoughts on the next few months. Okay, so let's see. Maybe minimum we use a weekly in this case, and we should probably be on like a monthly. You got a bit of a trading range going on right here. Let's see, is this one, well, this one actually is quite coiled up. So what I notice on the weekly specifically is weekly BBWP is on the floor. The lowest levels that we've seen since basically March 2021, where this one did initiate its last just major move to the upside. And we are and these are historically relevant levels. I mean, the last time we saw it before that was December 2019 before, well, that. So fair enough. Anyways, short term, I'd be looking for it to bounce off range lows, probably test somewhere around the median of the range, where that'd be like, I don't know, 77, probably somewhere around 7,700 or so. I don't think that's relevant towards you if you're looking over the next few months. I look at it as bullish, however, as long as you do hold the range low. So with that in mind, over the next few months, like if you're talking, I don't know, 3 months down the road or so, probably does test the top side of this structure at about 7,800. The question is, does it take it out or not? If it does, then I'm looking for new all-time high party. If it doesn't, well, I'm looking for at minimum sideways, and of course, if you do break below your low side structure with 7,500 on a monthly, then I would call a big correction down to about 7,150 to 7,200. But not really getting much from this other than that. I'm more leaning towards an upside resolution here. Let's see what the quarterly looks like. Quarterly is not. Well, quarterly is a macro breakout, so long term probably good, but just be aware of where the consolidation, validation, and invalidation is. Let's see. Garrett G says, good morning, sir. Good morning to you as well. PYR, weekly time frame. I don't think there's going to be much of a weekly on this one, but we can look at it on Binance. Yeah, there's not even a 3 month, so no. That's going to be a no, sir. Wait, maybe there's got to be like another exchange. Okay, KuCoin, and still not much of a weekly right here. I think a daily is probably the highest I'd go on something like this. Look, I have to treat this as a potential higher or low here, as long as you do hold 23.5 bucks. You are going to have hidden bullish divergence, which is what you do expect on something like that, and it is a correction down to the 55, so that's fine. 4 hour time frame, would like to see it take out about 34.40 for a little bit of a short-term reversal, looking for moves up towards 40.5 after that. I don't think that's, well, the daily's still okay, so maybe that is what's happening right here. Still I'm not getting anything like super obvious from this one. That's kind of the problem on this. Where does one start to fall apart again? Well, if you do confirm a local high right here, you will certainly have hidden bearish divergence. How would that happen? 4 hour or even a 2 hour closure below 2680 in this case, and then I'd be looking for a retest to your lows. Until that happens, I guess I'm looking sideways and up. Again, easy to watch Bitcoin here, and I would call another major breakout to new all-time highs above 39.5 bucks on a daily closure. Until then, yeah, got hidden bullish divergence right here. Very likely does extend the medium-term upside move. I don't know if I'd necessarily call continuation off just yet. However, still need to see about 40 bucks or so. Rinse says, Elsa is a mod. Why? I don't know. That's crazy. Fucking crazy. Excellent question, sir. I think the same myself. John H says, hello again. What's up, man? ENJ for hour and daily. Okay. This is Engine Coin, and I think this is another metaverse thingy. Let's see. Very similar charts to a lot of the other ones that we've seen today. Very, very similar. I'm going to redo this one because it's got all sorts of time frames charted right there. Okay, long term, where are we at on the weekly? Long term bouncing, but does look a little bit corrective there, to be fair. Daily can very easily bounce up to 315, maybe even as much as 3.25, but problems long term as long as you're below about 380. 4 hour, you asked about an hourly, so we'll go down to an hourly. Hourly still lower highs. You will have hidden bearish divergence with any sort of a lower high that's confirmed below about $3. So where would this one start to become a little bit of an issue? Even a buy hourly closure below 275, I would call this a local high right here, and that would have hidden bearish divergence, and I would be looking for another move back down to about 250. Until then, if Bitcoin continues to rally, look for this one to pop up towards what were the daily targets? 315 to 3.25. I think the hopium here basically is something like this. You're back in your prior trading range, which is okay, but below there, about $2.50 on a daily, this thing very likely gets sent back down to its weekend lows, about $2. So, if you see Bitcoin shit the bed again, that's probably where this one's headed. Until then, sideways good for the Bulas. Be aware of where the short-term invalidation is for a bit of a local high. That would be worth paying attention to, in my opinion. If you're on the lower term time frames. Strange says, been with the cave for 3 months. My fucking man. I'm getting a lot of info from, hey, sweet man. I'm really glad to hear. I'm really glad to hear that. Keep it strange, my fucking man. I like it. And is that a Japanese character or a Chinese character right there? It probably sounds racist, but look, I don't know these things. Either which way, it looks very cool actually. Kind of do want to learn a little bit of that, just because it's like it's a whole different, I mean, obviously it's a different language, but it's like a different universe basically. The way that you communicate with those characters rather than words. Very, very interesting. And we got another one right here. That one's definitely Japanese. I know that. For LOL says UOS. You're talking about hold on. Are you talking about UAE oil services, or are you talking about probably Ultra? Probably Ultra. So we'll go to this one. You're on a 4 hour daily. Same thing as a lot of the other ones. So we did break our prior structure to the downside. Okay, that's fine. Still has higher lows on the daily, and we do have hidden bullish evidence populated right here. Will be confirmed at end of day today at 7 p.m. Eastern time with any sort of closure above 170. And at that point, I would be looking for another move up somewhere around about $2 or so. Long term uptrend remains pretty good actually too. Pretty damn good right there. 4 hour. Short term, I'd want to see this one pop back above your last lower high, which is 175. Above there, I do look for this one to continue on with the short term rally towards that $2 number. And you have bullish evidence right here, and 4 hour Jewel is actually giving you a very good signal, in fact. So I just want to see that confirmation above your last local high. If you do confirm a local high right here, kind of the same thing as other ones, you will have hidden bearish evidence present. So I'd be looking for another run at the lows, but how would that be confirmed? Below 155 on a 2 hour. Until then, it's okay. Put in a little bit of a local low right there. And weekly, long term, holy shit, man. Here would be the most obvious thing. If it engulfs last week, that thing's gonna go fucking berserk if that happens. Wow. But fair enough. Still a long way away from that. One thing at a time, sir. What's up, Cloudmaster? We actually did super earlier, so probably just coming to this one a little bit later, and we did a little bit more in depth on that one. I remember it was short-term good, still long-term looking at $2 for the big bad area to take over in order for major continuation. And I wish you an amazing day as well. So yeah, it's just earlier in the stream here. We'll actually timestamp it after the stream, so you can view it there in a more prolonged way. Common Sense says Gala daily. Yeah, so we haven't no one's been interested in Gala recently. I'm guessing this one probably topped out nastily, and it did. But to be fair, it still holds the range. Well, hold on. I do have it breaking down my 4 hour range, but that's okay. Well, that move already played out. So let's do this for our daily as you did request. Okay, so we're gonna do something like this. Short-term daily range highs, or even 4 hour highs, can be 56 cents. Your major area is gonna be about 73.5 cents. So short-term, looking a little more corrective here actually on the 4 hour. Do you have hidden bearish evidence present? No, you do not just yet. I would like to see this one above 56 cents for the short-term timeframes like a 4 hour in order for me to get a little bit more optimistic on it and looking for it to return back up to 65 cents. So that's kind of the short-term look on this one. If you're on a daily, I'm very split on this one on a daily. I don't really have a strong opinion on this one on the daily here. You're gonna have your uptrend, especially as long as you're above about 38 cents or so. So I don't really have much to make out of this. If Bitcoin dumps out, I'm looking for this one to come back down to 33 cents and probably bounce there. Until then, short-term sideways is good for the Bulas, but forgive me if the short-term timeframes like the 4 hour and 2 hour are showing a little bit of issues right here. So again, I'd really want to see this one get above 56 cents, even on like a bi-hourly closure before I start to look for this one to, kind of look a little bit better on the higher term timeframes. Until then, just best it can do sideways. And if I did have to call this one, I do think that this one actually does come down. Personal opinion, not that I'd trade that, but yeah, just be aware of that area. So how would I confirm a local high right here and look for another run at your 41 cent lows? 2 hour closure below about 47.5 cents would do it for me. Cool. Let's see. All right. Suede has a really good question. Q&A. Ethereum Bitcoin pair is an indicator, non-investment, correct? Wrong. No, it is you can trade that pair. If I buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, I still own Ethereum. Please explain, sir. Sir, okay. If you buy the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, sorry, I don't mean to sound like fucking rude. I apologize, man. I probably had similar questions when I first joined this damn sector. Okay, if you buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, no, you just lost your Bitcoin and you traded it for Ethereum, so you have more Ethereum now. You still own Ethereum. No. You have to, if you're going to buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, you are buying Ethereum with Bitcoin, meaning that you have less Bitcoin and more Ethereum. And yes, that is a pair that you can trade. It is not an indicator. It is an investment, or it's not an investment. It's just a trading pair, man. It's all that it is. So by the other means, if you sell the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, you will be selling your Ethereum, meaning that you have less and you will have more Bitcoin. Hopefully that is as clear as possible. But yeah, man, I probably had similar questions when I first joined this market anyway. So yeah, it's a trading pair, non-investment nor an indicator. It's just trading pair. That's all. Can be used in many different ways. Mylene Gomes' profile picture is an affordable V-Punk on V-Chain. Cool. Netflix on hourly and 4 hour. The option play did not go as planned. Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Well, hopefully you did get out of that at a reasonable price, sir. Anyways,
Sorry.
yeah, not great right there. What's up? What?
Well, I missed one, and you.
Okay, later after this one. Later after this one.
But it's not a button.
No? Okay, great. Anyways, yeah, Netflix looked like the breakdown to me, man. I'm looking for this one to trade back down towards like somewhere around 570 to 580 over the next month or two. Short term, is it more bouncy or not? Oh, you're on an hourly and 4 hour. Sorry. You don't give a fuck about that. Short term, it's more bouncy. 4 hours bouncy. Hourly is more bouncy than not as well. Probably looking for continuation up to like 630 or so. Long term, not a big fan of this one, but short term continuation of bounce. I would actually call it bullish back above about what was it? Was it 640 on a 4 hour? Hold on. No, it was like 625. What about an hourly? Hourly 632. Yeah, above about 640. I do look at this one as in a bit of a short term reversal and likely to trade back up towards. Sorry, make that 635. 635. Likely to trade back up towards 645 to 650, but not a big fan of this one in that very high term times, which is not relevant to you, to be fair. Crypto Vegan says hello from Los Angeles. Definitely a vegan. All good, man. And thanks, man. I appreciate that. Can you check Ethereum on the 4 hour? Sure. And we should probably do a video on this one. I don't think I have many videos for today, and this would be a good one to be doing. Let me just double check how many I have, and then we will decide. I think I might even have just one. I have two. Oh, I have two, and one of them was a question. Yeah, let's definitely do this one. All right. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and we'll probably do the Bitcoin pair in here as well, as it is relevant. And as we did suggest yesterday, we did get our move down to the 39.30 level, 39.50-ish region, and beautiful bounce. This is the exact response that you're looking for. So I like to follow up on these charts that we've been looking at for a while now, and still, you know, would I be calling like a major breakout from here? No, it's still the same thing, but going sideways between basically $4,000 low and 45.20 high is going to be good for the boo laws, and I would still be looking at 45.20 as a major area for a breakout towards not just prior all-time highs at 48 to 4,900, but massively new all-time highs most likely as well. But is that most likely to happen like today? Probably not. No. We do see that volatility is still kind of contracting here a little bit. It is below the moving average, so I suspect that this one still goes a bit more sideways. Short-term time frames, like a 4 hour, what are we looking like right here? Short-term, if Bitcoin does continue, let's say to like 52 or 53,000, I would be looking for this one to stab up somewhere around about that 45.20-ish region. Still, though, that would not be a 4 hour breakout in this case. 4 hour, if using this time frame to judge a breakout, I'd want to see above 46.50 on a 4 hour closure. Until then, if the daily closed above 45.20, yes, that would look great for long-term continuation, which I do think that this one is still a lot more good than bad, man. I mean, this, like, look at the weekly, look at the 5 day. Really good stuff right there. Long term, look at the monthly. Just correction to the 9 exponential, and so far really, really good. Of course, I do want to bring it up on this chart as well, just because it is good to be aware of the long term, and we're going to throw a Trollinger Band on it. We're going to go up to the weekly first, just see where it's at. Not anything too interesting right there, still consolidating. And then the monthly as well. And remember, the monthly has been closing the last two months did close above the top side Trollinger Band right there. We want to see this one close above as well for like the macro continuation. That would be 48.35. Apologies, my dyslexia is getting in the way. And that would still, you know, have the macro target alongside the 618 Fibonacci extension. And that measure move come off of this as a continuation formation at about 5,400, which would look really, really good. And of course, it should be known, or actually, let's go over here as well. I just want to double check momentum oscillators here. Daily is going to freshly cross up today with any sort of closure above 4,300. That would look quite good as well. So that'd be another piece of the puzzle for the boo laws right there. If you're on the 4 hour time frame, it's getting up there at 43.13, but still above right now. Hourly, see where we're at. We'll turn back up above 43.70, also quite good. 5 day close last night, and we'll turn back up above 45.20 or so. So I do like that area for a long-term breakout. Yeah, same thing on the weekly as well. Until then, I'm looking for this one to trade a little more sideways, probably test a little bit of upside, but I wouldn't call it a breakout just yet. What I'd also want to look at is the Bitcoin pairing, because this one's been working really, really well for us. It continues onwards and forwards, and well, I'm still looking at this one as likely to test up all the way to about 9.5 million Satoshis. Very likely a pullback there, and then long-term continuation over the following months upon validation above 9.5 million Satoshis towards 11.5 million to 14 million or so Satoshis. That would look quite good. Daily is just continuation right here. It's one of the strongest charts that we've seen in a while. Volatility continues to expand. Now, of course, there needs to be an invalidation on this. That would be below 7.75 million Satoshis still. Same thing as yesterday, actually. Until that's hit, I'm just basically long-term bullish on this thing. And that does bode well for the general cryptocurrency market, right? Because anytime that we've seen this chart bullish, essentially, Bitcoin's been bullish, and by extension, the greater cryptocurrency landscape has been bullish as well. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go over here. Let's go to a weekly and just briefly go over this, and I'll put on a Bitcoin chart in the other scale with the orange, and let's put it on large scale as well. You can see that they generally move with each other, and they generally put in their lows with each other on the weekly reversals specifically. And with Ethereum Bitcoin pairing just breaking out to new all-time highs, meaning that it is continuation, meaning that there's not obviously a lower high, so there is no reversal right here. Well, that does bode well for Bitcoin long term. Most likely that this consolidation is still more likely a bullish consolidation, just going to take its time. And that can still come with another move down into the mid 40s, very easily. So patience, I think, is the name of the game here. But I do like, always coming back to that chart and being aware of the macro picture because, hard to hate this one, man. The weekly's just breaking out on the pairing as well. Just confirmed as of Sunday at 7. So hidden bullish evidence right there. Volatility's coming off of lows that we haven't seen since October, November of 2020. Leading up this run it was like a 200% run basically from here to here. Really, really good. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir. Nice, man. Jack Jansen says, you like the merit circle, sir. All right, cool. Let's see where this one's at. Let's see if this one survived yesterday, and not great. And not great. Yeah, pretty ugly here, man. But, is it, well, I was going to say, is it likely to bounce first? I think you got your bounce right there. Likely to retest your lows first. Not 127 butyrols. Maybe tries for another pity bounce right there, but not a fan of this chart any longer. And, when the daily wants to bounce anywhere around about 175 or 1745 is fair game. Long term, not a big fan as long as you're below basically your last major high. That is not great. Anyways, 4 hour, short term down, 12 hour. Same thing. I'm not really seeing many bottoming signals just yet. Probably gives one more try to the downside and then goes for a bounce, probably somewhere around 0.11 or 115 or so, something like that. Not great right there. Smith Grind says, wondering your take on market maker involvement with managing price behavior and trapping liquidity. Much bigger involvement than many realize. IMO. Well, I would say I would push back on this because I actually used to be a market maker authorized trader. And what I can say about this is that this just seems to be something that is just massively misunderstood by people within this market. I'm not trying to talk down to you here. Many people just don't understand this. A true market maker is just facilitating liquidity, and they do not give a fuck about direction because what they're doing is they're playing delta neutral strategies. When I was doing it with equity options, we would play the reverse conversion markets for the most part, or some variation of that. And the whole idea is to not hold directional risk. So when people talk about the evil market makers manipulating price to trap you, it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit because all they're trying to do is they're trying to provide liquidity and lock in all sides basically at the same time and have no risk on those damn trades. That's the whole point of being a market maker. So whenever someone talks about that, you can immediately write them off as someone who has no fucking clue of what they're talking about, even though it sounds right and it sounds like very high consciousness type of stuff. It's not. It's completely fucking wrong. What you are referring to and what is real is big quant firms and basically quant firms and hedge firms and shit like that. Those people will do shit like that, trapping liquidity because they actually need to create liquidity for themselves. A true market maker is just providing liquidity for the market. That's all. That's it. Fucking kaputs. Look up the goddamn definition. Sorry. I'm not saying this directly towards you. I'm saying this to like the multitude of people that I see across all social media venues that just perpetuate this no offense, but very silly and unwell thought of ideas. Again, there is this kind of behavior that goes on, but it's with quant firms Not market makers. Market makers, again, delta neutral, meaning that you have no directional risk. You do not play direction. So trapping liquidity to begin with is a bullshit thing. But quant firms do need to do that, and big money managers, hedge funds, they need to do that as well, because, well, you can't just fucking market buy hundreds of millions of contracts of Bitcoin without destroying the current markets and getting massively terrible prices and whatnot. So managing price behavior. Here's also the problem with this as well. Look, here's where I can tell, and no offense, that you have not really thought this through. So first off, and this is speaking from someone who actually used to be a market maker or authorized trader. All right, the problem when you are a bigger account is you actually don't know if you are a bigger account relative to someone else. There's always a bigger fish in the sea, as the saying goes. So how does that look like? Well, think about it this way. Put yourself in these people's shoes. Say you have $1 billion portfolio and you're like, okay, I got $1 billion. That's pretty good. That's pretty fucking good. What if someone has $2 billion or $5 billion or $10 billion, which they definitely do have. And there's an infinite amount of people within this market, people who are already in or maybe just waiting to get in, and they can take advantage of you if they do not agree with what you are doing. And if they have more money, then they can probably juice things in their favor. And more importantly, here's the thing, is that market makers, first off, cannot collude like legally, but second off, it would be they're all whores. They all do things for like 1 cent better than the other. And same thing with quant firms as well. It would be potentially career suicide to collude with another firm, even which is like the other fucking stupid conspiracy that people come up with. Again, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just being rude to you, but it is fucking dumb. Sorry, but it is because even if they do collude, who's to say that other outsiders or maybe other people within the market collude as well, and they just have a combined more amount of money. Also, the problem is when you do collude, you are reliant on the other counterparty, even if your plan does go to plan, for them to hold up to it, which they have no incentive to. Because if they deviate from it, they can make a lot more money and wash you out. It is a fucking game, and it's a cutthroat game. So to have these sort of ideas is just... It's actually wrong. It's actually completely wrong. And it shows that you probably haven't thought too much about this. So, put yourself in those shoes. Ask yourself, what would I do if I had $1 billion and was managing one of these firms? Well, there's many other people out there who have $1 billion as well. It's not just like one person's operating the fucking market. If there's just one market maker, maybe you could get that, but there's not. And I can assure you of that because I have been taken advantage of when I was a market maker by other market makers. And it was great, man. Well, not necessarily market makers, but quant firms kind of picking me off and whatnot because I was a noob. But yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. Miko's Adventures says, let us mind meld. I want to know all flux, please. All right. So we looked at this one yesterday, I believe, at your request. Let's check it out. USD. All right. Maybe KuCoin is the best one. Not a big fan of this chart, man. On a continuation of bounce, I'm looking for like 142. But I'm not a big fan of this chart, man. As long as you're especially below 155, I do look at this as likely to break down more over time. Okay, can you not do that? What the fuck? Oh, okay. Well, you should definitely take their comment as a very serious thing. And the fuck. Let's see. Okay, you're on. Okay, you want to know all, but no time frames given. Short term, bounces can come back up to 140, 142 or so, and that doesn't really change all that much. Lower highs, below 167, especially hard to love long term as long as you're below 2.25. But short term, I guess maybe bouncy, maybe a little more bouncy here. I'm not getting hidden bearish evidence possible on a 4 hour just yet, so I do suspect that the bounce continues up, maybe like 140 or so, which would actually be around the daily level. But as long as you're below there, it is just another lower high, and probably do come back down and test around your 110 to $1 lows or so. Where do I get very bearish on this one though? Not this week. I mean, even if this one is going to turn out to be bearish, like long term, it probably isn't going to break down this week. I don't really call like a macro breakdown and just nastiness long term until you close below about 93 cents. But short term, bouncy. And hey, if the bounce brings you back above 160 even on a 4 hour closure, I would let go of my ideas that this one is long term not great, or at least just short term corrective, and long term likely to trade further south. I feel like I'm not being very helpful in this one, to be honest with you, but I'm just a lot more inclined to say this one, short term bouncy, anything below what was it, 142 is just a lower high, even on a short-term time frame, and probably leads towards another try towards your current lows. But I wouldn't be looking for like a weekly breakdown just yet, because the weekly is bouncing off the 21, and it's probably going to take some time to actually break that level if it's going to do it to begin with. So I'd give it a chance here. And hey, where do I get bullish on this thing? Well, probably better to err on the side of caution, which would be back above about 220. Yeah, I know that's not too helpful, but that's kind of the problem with these coins that, go to the moon and don't really spend too much time building up support on the way. This is your real chart, by the way. So yeah, that's a problem. What's up, Devi? How you doing, man? How do I confirm bullish or bearish divergence for example, 4 hour? Well, it's actually quite simple. So you need to always compare it in terms of divergences, compare local lows to local lows, or local highs to local highs. So how do you confirm? Well, first things first, it needs to even be potential on a 4 hour or whatever time frame that you're looking at. So in this case, you need to have, you do have bullish divergence right here, which was confirmed. As you do have a higher low on RSI oscillating, you had a lower low on price action. Where does this low get confirmed as a low and thus confirm the bullish divergence? When you have a clear stop and reverse point, I like to do things on a closing basis because it is a little bit more, dependable, although you will give up better entries for less profit, to be fair. But those entries typically work out better over time, so the hit rate is higher. Anyways, in this case, where do you put in the local low? Okay, you see a slew of doji dildos right here. You see this one actually close above your short-term range highs. That's where it would, in my opinion. So you do see the closing price of 121.8 and then up towards this high right here at about 132 basically. Short margins right there, to be fair, but that's what I'd be looking at. It always comes down to essentially confirming local lows and local highs. That's the skill that you're looking for in order to then match up the divergences. So first you need the local lows and local highs, then you look at the RSI. Jack says, could you look at Ethereum Bitcoin 4 hour daily? We got that and recorded it, so I think we're good there. Rick says, Pegaxi, any warning signals? Okay, I'm not, is this a crypto or maybe something else? I'm not seeing it on TradingView though. So the biggest warning signal is that it's not on TradingView, which does host a ton of shit coins, but it's probably just very new if I had to guess. But unfortunately it's not on TradingView, so I have no idea. So I probably shouldn't talk about it is what I probably should not do. So yeah, I mean, I understand that that's frustrating, but I don't see it there. Alexander McCart says, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Dot. Yeah. Polkadot. Check this one out. What's good old Dot doing over here? All right, daily. I do think that's putting in a little bit of a local low right here. Probably does rally back up to 31.85 or so. But what, no time frames given. God damn it, man. Yeah, more likely to bounce here than not. Yeah, kind of retraced a little bit more than what you would have wanted for this one to be a more obvious, good long-term chart. Yeah, 5 days, same thing as well, man. I'm inclined to call a bounce first, but I'm not a big fan of this one. I wouldn't necessarily call a breakdown to prior lows as long as you're above 26 and 15 cents on a daily closure. Below there, I do look for retests of your 23 to $22.50 lows. And for what it's worth, the higher term timeframes, yeah, they're more likely to bounce here first, but yeah, don't confuse bounce with the reversal. I don't really get bullish on this one long term again, as long as you're below about $36.50, so kind of rangy at best. Cardano Silverback says, "Can you chart hog for me, please?" I don't know if this is a real thing.
Daily and weekly.
Okay, daily and weekly. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Okay, I guess it is a real thing, and it's right here. So that's what the fuck, man. This, god damn it, man. This is not a chart that you can analyze. I'm sorry. Maybe you can try something else. Maybe another pair. Maybe this one. All right, that looks more like a motherfucker, dude. We have a worst chart of the day award going to hog. Now, to be fair, this is Ethereum versus hog. So actually, it's really like this, which is actually quite good. Or I wouldn't say it's quite good, but it's better than the other one for sure. Probably looking for bounce off this region, maybe back up towards this local high right here, but I would not get bullish on this thing. Or sorry, I would get bullish on this thing above whatever this level is right here. It's a number that is too big for me to say right off the tip of my tongue. But trading range, very likely good for the Bulas. I get bearish below here. I get bullish above here. As long as they're sideways, this is good for the Bulas. Below here, I do look for big moves down towards whatever this fucking number is right there. Above here, I look for retests of your macro highs and probably does get ready for a long-term breakout. And for what it's worth, I do think that it will pull through there. But this is versus Ethereum, and Kind of a weird chart because it's already inverted. So weird. Yeah, weird one right there. Eden Stalker says, could you please look at VXV? VXV. Okay. I'm guessing it's this thing. All right. Pretty bad, man. Been around for less than a month. No time frames given. Short term, a little bit of a corrective bounce, but I don't think anything more than that. Will have hidden bearish evidence available to you as long as you're below 690. So can it extend the bounce a little bit more? Sure. But very, very bearish as long as you're below. Let's just call it $7 on a 4-hour closure. Really not much history here, so I probably shouldn't be going too deep into this one, but yeah, that's pretty much all I'd say about it. It's way too new to really give it any real merit here, but yeah, if you see any sort of a lower high below $7, I'm looking for this one to retest back down around your December 6 lows and probably do more of the same. But again, really not much history here to be going off of, so probably a healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer on this. But yeah, fair enough. I'll leave it right there. I don't think I should say anything more because I really don't have strong opinions on that. Way too new. Appreciate that, Sasana call. Be bullish. Appreciate that, brother, but feel free to have a message as well. Sumit says, Dirk, sir. Yes, D-race token, Dirk, simple Dirk. Not bad there, actually. Good recovery. Good recovery on the day. So this one did trade. I remember we looked at this one yesterday at your request. Looks like we got a bounce. I was probably looking for a bounce at 385. Looks like it went a little bit lower than that, to be fair, but bounce did occur. Anyways, what do we have right here? We actually do have hidden bullish divergence forming. Need to see today's daily total closure close here or higher, and I'd be looking for an extension of the rally up to about 570 to maybe as much as $6. Above six and a quarter is where I get bullish on this one again, looking for a retest of your prior highs and new ultimate highs. But until then, definitely not as bad as some of the other ones. Short term probably continues up to 545. No bullish divergence right there, to be fair, but yeah, actually having a pretty damn good recovery. So probably be looking for it to extend the rally a little bit more. But again, above 6 and a quarter, that's where I get a little more excited for the long term. And where do I get not excited for the long term? Below 435, very bad, very, very bad. But until then, okay. Common sense says LCID, daily, weekly, monthly. Sure. LCID. Okay, on nows, and you're looking at a daily, weekly, and monthly. Daily, probably in a bouncy territory right here. Yeah, I believe last time we looked at this one, we did call some downside moves. I'm looking for a bounce basically where you're at right now. If it comes a little bit lower, then maybe like 34 and a half, $35, but it's a lot closer to that than not. Daily, weekly, monthly. Long term, it's a macro breakout from what I can tell. It doesn't really have enough necessarily for a monthly, but a weekly is okay. Yeah, I'm looking for this one to bounce here. I don't really get bearish on this thing or call this one a failed attempt as long as you're above about 32 and a half. Below there, yeah. But for right now, short-term bouncy. Let's see what a 4 hour looks like. Hold on. Yeah, I'd still say short-term bouncy. Although the prior breakdown call was a lot easier than this one, but I probably would be looking for a bounce here and then trade sideways. Anything above 32 and a half is good long-term. Yeah, that's really what I have to say about this one. Where's your next major macro breakout above 52 and a half, and probably looking at, just doing some bad mental math, target of about 70 to $80 actually, if and when that happens. But I don't think that's happening like today or tomorrow or this week or next week. I think earliest would be like Q1 of 2022. It's going to be consolidating for a while. Again, assuming that it just doesn't break below about 32 and a half. That would be good. Mayor says, good morning. Good morning to you as well. OHM, USD, weekly and monthly, trying to DCA in. Sure. Okay. OHM. Whoops. Maybe we have to go to this thingy. And damn, man, we already have 2,000 likes on this video. Holy shit. What I read is, I don't see that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now. I'll do it. I'm doing it after this one. Sorry. All right. OHM. I mean, I do think that it's going to try for another bounce here, but is this the bounce that you're looking for? It sounds like you're trying to DCA to a long-term position. First off, there's really not much of a weekly here, man. Let alone a monthly, certainly not. I'm a lot more inclined to say that this is probably going to come down lower over time. There's going to be bounces along the way, short term, but bounces can come back up to $700 and still just be another failed bounce. I do look for this one to trade down from here, probably somewhere around 450 to 460 or so. I don't know if I'd call that a major. I want to see some bottoming behavior first, man. Like if your question quite literally is, I'm trying to DCA into this. The problem with DCA is that the perpetuator of DCA, Warren Buffett, does not tell you the most important thing to be aware of when you are DCAing, which is this. You only DCA into a fucking uptrend, man. And right now this is it's a macro uptrend, yes, but not a daily or lower than that uptrend. So I want to see something resembling a bottom, and we don't have it just yet. I'd either call correction over above like 825 or 830, or I'm basically looking, over the next month or two back down towards probably like 425 to 450 or so. Maybe look for a low there, but again, I want to see like an actual bottoming behavior first before I talk about something like that. So don't think it's that relevant, unfortunately. So I just don't think that can be very helpful in your particular case. Be bullish says, Krown, can you please explain why pairs work? Why? Because you can trade them. Does it matter the order in which you buy the coins? Yes. Yes, sir. I can't be. Look, I certainly had similar questions to this when I first got into crypto land. So. Okay, yes, it does matter which order you buy them in. Again, the pair that is first, in this case, Ethereum, is the one that you are trading in this case. So you're trading for Ethereum. That means Ethereum is dominant over the Bitcoin denominator. So that means that if Ethereum is outpacing Bitcoin, then Ethereum Bitcoin pairing goes up. And if it's the opposite, then it goes down. And yes, it does matter which order that they're in, because the Ethereum pair, whichever one is dominant over the denominator, that is the one that is essentially like, if the chart's going up, that one is outpacing. That is the better one. Same thing with Ethereum versus MATIC, or MATIC versus Ethereum. If MATIC versus Ethereum, like the MATIC ETH chart right here, is going up, that means that MATIC is outpacing Ethereum. So yes, it very much matters. You should really be aware of that. Yeah. Hopefully that addresses that. Maybe I should do a video on that, but well, maybe I don't even understand your question, because I would think you probably know that. Well, just let me know if that's what you're looking for right there, and then maybe we can come back to that. All right. Sassa Nicole says, KP3R. Okay. All right. That's a new one for me, man. Okay. This thing. All right. Trades on Binance, trades versus Binance USD, and it looks like absolute dog shit. This thing will rip to 5K, I promise. Oh, okay. Well, that just seems, it's currently at 855. All right. I'm going all in, man. I'm already spending it. I guess that's just a comment rather than a question. So fair enough, man. I hope it does work out for you, though. I really do. Maybe there's like a better exchange to be going off of. This one actually looks a lot better right here. Okay. Maybe I do take that back. I don't know if I'd call a $5,000 target based off this, but this is actually a lot better right here. Bullish, especially back above about 1400. Until then, corrective. I promise. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm spending it, man. All right. Well, I'm looking at the right chart now. It's on Poloniex. It's fine. Yeah. It's the same guy, sir. We're on the same chart right here. Yeah. It probably is okay long term. I don't know if it's going to rip to 5,000, sir. That's well, it's more than a 5x from where you're at right now, but this ain't bad. It's a long-term uptrend, but I think that was just a comment rather than a question. Anyways, Steven Sarmiento says, MATIC USD. We already got this one, so all good there. I don't know. Do you have another one to maybe look at? But I'm looking at this as a macro breakout, man. I'm still looking at $3 plus over the next month and a half. Looking quite good. And thanks, man. I appreciate that. Wow. By the way, nice hair, man. I'm very envious of that. But yeah, I'll upload a video on this one later today, as we already kind of went through it in detail earlier. But basically, this is what I'm looking at long term. For the next month or two, looking pretty damn good. If you're looking at a 4 hour, it's just continuation from here. Invalidations short term below about 210 on a 4 hour. It's just continuation. Pretty damn good, though. Probably one of the better charts that we've seen today for sure. Gemini Athlete says Ren 4 hour and daily. Okay, Ren. Yeah, we haven't looked at this one in a while. Let's see where this one's at. 4 hour, still very, very similar to the charts that we've seen today. Short term, maybe an extension of this bounce. Not a big fan of this one, especially as long as it's below about 95 cents. Weekly, bouncy first. Very likely trades back up somewhere around about 70 cents or so. I'd be cognizant of your of some short-term resistance coming in around there on the 4 hour. I mean, long term, the hoping is that you do have higher lows as long as you're above, especially like 43 cents. But you know, that can take a while. That can certainly take a while. Something like this. Perhaps you're even already there at the 618. Short-term bouncy. Short-term bouncy. I wouldn't be looking for like the next major breakdown as long as you're closing dailies above 60 cents. Below there, yeah, this thing probably gets sent back down to the depths of hell to 50 cents or so. But for right now, short-term bouncy, come back to it after that. Where was the easy bounce targets? Yeah, somewhere around like 66 to 70 cents or so. Good morning to you, Mr. OXDYOR. 1 USD. I think we did this one earlier maybe, or no. Maybe not. Yeah, I think it was DOT actually. So no, we haven't done this one. Good bounce off the 55 so far. Probably does test somewhere around the 21, which is 20.5 cents. Daily. 4 hour, very similar to the other charts, a lot of the other charts we've seen. Short term needs to get back up about 20.5 cents. Otherwise, you will have hidden bearish divergence on any sort of confirmed local high. How would you confirm a local high right here? 2 hour closure below 18.5 cents. Very likely retest your current lows at 15.75 to 15.5. Daily corrective still, man. So while I do think that let's say Bitcoin gets going to 53,000 bucks, I do look for this one to test back up towards 22 cents, but kind of broke a major level right there, which is not great. So, again, short-term bouncy. I don't really look at this one as like in a good posture as long as you're below about, let's just call it 22.5 cents on a weekly closure above there. Things start to look quite good as well long-term. And long-term, to be fair, this is actually quite a good chart. I mean, you do have a just generally up and to the right chart, which is great. Uptrend remains. The problem is you're dealing with, big numbers, or not necessarily big numbers here, but big moves. So these ranges are pretty damn massive on a daily. So for right now, I guess I look for one more drive to the upside. Just be aware of where the invalidation is for like a short-term time frame here on a confirmation of local high, because it very likely does retest lows if that happens. Until then, probably continues on with a little bit of a short-term rally. And hey, above 20.5 cents, even on a 4 hour closure, I do look for this one to retest around that major weekly level, which is 22.5 cents. And that would change things around on the macro picture. More immediately. Let's see. Johnny Armano said, nice name, man. Appreciate that, brother. Can you check out Track? Cheers from Australia or Austria? Very similar places right now, politically speaking, I guess. Anyways, I won't get into that. That's not for me to get into. You're looking at a what? At a no time frames given. Another one of these weird charts, man. Another one of these weird charts. I should be bearish on these charts, to be fair. Let's see, I'm guessing you're probably going to be looking at a 4 hour. Do you have hidden bearish divergence present to you? Yes, you would. However, it will only be confirmed with the 2 hour closure below 126.80. Below there, I look for this one to retest lows. Until then, I guess I keep open the idea that this one does test up towards about 145. Above 145, lower term timeframes do switch around, and I would be looking for a rally over the next week or so back up to 170. But hard chart to love long term if you're on a daily, as long as you're below about $2. So I'll just leave that right there. And well, if you take out yesterday's low, this thing very likely does come down to 85 cents, but that's maybe that's not relevant to you. Again, I don't really know what time frames you're going off of. Elsie says, hi, hello, RMRK. Okay, RMRK. Okay, Rimrock, no, RMRK, remark. Actually quite good. Actually quite good. And I think that we looked at this one yesterday as well. Very interesting. RMRK, huh? All right, let's see. Daily, higher low, hidden bullish divergence will be confirmed later today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time upon closure, with any sort of closure here or higher, and that would imply another move somewhere around about $60 or so, in the next week or so. 4 hour looking good. Look for short-term continuation somewhere around 56.25 or so. Looks good. And I'd call breakout to new all-time highs with any sort of a 4 hour closure, even just a wick higher than 62.25. In that case, I guess I'd be looking for big bad moves. Let's see, do I have anything here? I guess I'd be looking for moves up towards $70 after that. But for right now, where would I have an invalidation on something like this? Very easily on this one, below 42.5. That's where I get bearish on this thing on a closure. Even on a 4 hour, I look for moves back down to the mid 30s, $36 or so, and retest that weekend wick, or yesterday's wick, it looks like. Cool. Let's see. Tyron Naidu says, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Can you look at Casper Labs? Okay, CSPR. This thingy. Yeah, I remember this thingy. Maybe you or someone else has asked about this one before. Anyways, 4 hour and daily. Similar to the last chart, actually. This one operating a lot better. Well, not necessarily like super better, but we do have a higher low right here. We should have hidden bullish evidence actually, which will probably come with any sort of a closure above 19 cents today. If that happens, I would be looking for another retest of your 21.5 to 22 cent highs. And this one to me is still a breakout here, man. I actually quite like this one for what it's worth, for at least for the history that we have. This just looks like a retest of the breakout trend line and very likely upwards. And this is actually okay. It's actually okay, man. 4 hour, I would invalidate bullishness below 17.5 cents on a 4 hour closure. Until then, short term up. Actually okay. Actually okay, man. Very interesting. CSPR, huh? Not bad, man. Not bad. Last hours of eternity says Luna on the hourly and daily. Okay, Luna. Luna. Maybe record this one. Actually, we should. Done one on this one in a while. All right, here we have Terra Luna symbol LUNA versus the dollar, and what do we have here? Well, short-term timeframes still staying with the higher low fashion, and so I do respect that as long as it's essentially above 62 bucks on a 4 hour closure. Below there, I do look for this one to retest. I'm guessing this is weekend lows on the 4th of December at about 53 to 54 bucks. So until that condition is met, sideways and up is the name of the game here. Again, invalidation basically below about $62 on a 4 hour closure. Daily. Not really getting much from this. Let's go to a 5 day or a weekly. 5 day, quite good. Closed on neutral optimized last night. Yes, it was a doji dillo, so that does imply that any sort of a move above the high of it at 85, 85 bucks or so. I'm looking for, well, let's look at the macro extensions right here. Not the micro ones, but the macro ones in this case, because it is a macro breakout. And where to be coming in around? Jesus Christ, man, 110 to, that'd be the next target. Very likely a pullback from there. And where can corrections come down towards? Okay, so if the 4 hour does lose its current footing, yeah, do just look at a move back down to test around your fourth, somewhere around your low 50s in that case. But this one actually operating pretty damn well. Monthly, still good, still continuation. Weekly, still good, still continuation. I mean, this just looks like a back test of your last weekly open and up, quite good. Hidden bullish evidence right there. Volatility also taken up here as well. Similar levels to what you saw before the November 2020 breakout, which was this move over here. Probably not going to be the exact same move like that, but rather significant. And yeah, quite good. One of the better charts we've seen today for sure. So I do want to kind of make this a little bit more, flowy right here. So basically, as long as the invalidation is not hit, I'm looking for this one very likely to trade sideways and up out of here and over the next month and a half to 2 months. Next target would be about sorry, more like a month to a month and a half. 110, very likely a pullback around 110, but after a bit of consolidation and then a validation above 110, I'm looking towards, I guess, big fucking moves, man. Or actually, no, your name is Elsie, so maybe not. Maybe, I guess around like 170 to 2. Look, this is really far away. I'd want to see this one before then, but I suppose that might be relevant. Let's just go see it over here. Maybe momentum oscillators agree or disagree. Let's see. Weekly turns back up above 78. Okay, so needs a little bit of work to do right there. Daily turns back up above 82. Okay, so these are suggesting a little more correction here. 5 day turns back up above 70 bucks. What about 4 hour? 4 hours going to freshly turn up above 69.35. Okay, those are rather different than what we're seeing on the higher term time frame. So I would be aware of the invalidation again below 62 bucks on a 4 hour closure. At that point, I would be looking for another retest somewhere around here, mid 50s or so, and then we come back to it after that. Until then, I guess I should be looking sideways and up from here just based off the higher term time frames. Hopefully that's helpful. What? Sure. Okay. Okay. Where even was on? You talking about Oleg? Okay. Huamente, what's up, man? Please check Doki versus, oh dear Lord, Dookie versus Ethereum. Not on TradingView, man. Let's see, maybe some yeah, we can do this though. Dookie Finance does not trade at all. Sir, this is what you interrupted this for? This piece of shit? This piece of garbage? This thing is not a chart, man. It barely trades. Barely. There are days with just double-digit volume, man. And I don't have an opinion on this chart. It's fucking terrible, though. Whatever it is, it's fucking terrible. As long as you're below 0.029, it's just more of the same, but very unimpressive, very, very weird chart. Here's the hopium. You got some drives of bullish evidence on the weekly RSI, but that is the most weirdest drives of bullish evidence I've ever seen in my life. Best it does to the upside short term is maybe like 0.02, but I really don't have an opinion on a chart like this, man, other than the obvious, which is that it mostly goes down, and I'm just looking for the next lower highs, man. I appreciate that. You have a very nice message, but as far as charts go, not sure Yeah, this is a rare chart. You're definitely right. It's definitely rare. Rare in this case does not mean not mean great. And here's a real chart. That's real. Yeah, not great, man. Sorry, sir, but I feel like I'm just kind of shitting on your hopes and dreams right there. But yeah, not great, man. Okay, Scosa says cake long-term and medium-term time frame. Okay, don't know what that means to you, but we can look at it certainly. I do know that this one's certainly on TradingView. I have some like this going on right here. I'm not a fan of this chart though. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was on a log scale. Let's see. Okay, so we are getting a little bit of a bounce right here. I think we looked at this one yesterday. Bullish divergence has formulated. Might get one more move towards 14 bucks or so, but still working on lower highs as long as you're below basically 15 and a quarter. I think at best you're going sideways, but short-term medium term is a bounce very likely also off this level. I don't really get bearish, like full-on bearish on this thing, looking for a massive shatter below. As long as you're above about 9 and a quarter, you know, below there, this thing gets absolutely fucking wrecked. But for right now, short-term, medium-term bouncy. Hard chart to love as long as you're below 20 bucks, but you know, fair enough. Short-term very likely does carry on with the bounce. Where would I invalidate this on a 4 hour? I'd invalidate short-term bounce continuation below 1180 on even a 2 hour closure would probably do it for me. M Meister John says total crypto chart. We can look at it, sure. Usually I don't find it too valuable, but I don't know. Should keep an open mind, I guess. 12 hour and 24 hour. interesting time frames, but fair enough. Maybe a weekly would be good for something like this. Basically looks like a chart of Bitcoin. But not as, yeah, didn't break as many levels as Bitcoin. Actually, this is actually quite, it's a little bit better, I would say. 12 hour specifically, probably looking for a continuation of this bounce right here. Somewhere around about 2.41 trillion, but it doesn't really do too much for me. You know, still in a daily downtrend as long as you're below about 2.6 trillion. It's 2.6 trillion, but definitely not as bad of a look as just Bitcoin, to be fair. So this would be more comforting on the higher term timeframes. But again, higher term timeframe comfort still does imply that we could very easily come down to like low 2 trillion markers and still be higher term timeframe bullish. But this is a good response over here. So long term, I think that it keeps the hopium alive a little bit more. And again, you know, as long as Bitcoin's above about 40,000 bucks for myself, I am long term bullish. Cool. Hey, what's up, Lucen? Appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, sir. Cool. All right. Ellison Gus says, could you please look at Luna? Yep, we just got that one and recorded, so all good there. Ben says, can we look at Ethereum USD? We got that one as well and recorded it too, so we're good there. But generally speaking, Ethereum having a really good response here, looking for a continuation towards like 45.20 to 45.30. Good. Bullish, or at least, you know, generally good as long as you're above about 4,000 bucks. So invalidation below there and looking for big moves down. If that gets hit, you know, on a daily closure, back down to like 36 to 37. I don't think that's what's happening right here, but fair enough. Always need to have something like that in mind. Ethereum makes me think that this market might have already bottomed. And we're just kind of waiting on sluggish Bitcoin over here, to be fair. Anyways, I think we're at the bottom now. So all good there. Beautiful. Cardano Silverback is basically saying that hog is like dog, but DeFi. Got it. Got all of the marketing slogans in there, so that's good, man. That's really, really good. All right, sirs and sirs, we're 2 hours and 23 minutes into this video. A little bit longer than what we were gunning for, but that's okay. I appreciate the support on this channel. This is fucking amazing. 2,000 likes before the video's even ended. That's what the fuck. It's a what the fuck moment. Again, man, I need to really start to think about this more. Kind of crazy, man. Absolutely fucking crazy. But as far as Bitcoin goes right here, again, short term, you know, if you do see a 2 hour closure below about 50,000 bucks, I would look for another run at your 47 to 47,500-ish region. Until then, you know, short term time frames looking a little bit more like they want to test some upside here. Not really getting any major concerning signals just yet. Anywhere around 53,000 bucks is fair game. Wouldn't really change all that much. What changes something is on the daily closure above 54,000 bucks, or just a wick higher than your last lower high, which is 57 or so. Well, on a wick, it's more like, actually, shit. On a wick, it's more like 57,700. So yeah, it's still got a fair bit of work to do right there. I still do think that is, you know, I still think long-term okay, as long as you're above 40,000 bucks. The question is, do we get another run at our mid 40s, which I think is still very much relevant to be preparing for. Again, as long as Bitcoin's not above 54,000 bucks. Okay, cool, man. My voice is wrecked after that. Holy shit. Fun times though, man. Really do appreciate everyone joining in. Good, really, really fun community here. And I'm going to be signing off now. I'm going to go rest my voice. Elsa's got some dogs. Oh shit, we got dogs. Lucky's gonna say goodbye to you, and I'm gonna be signing off now. So with that said, take care. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you hopefully very, very soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it,